Hey, we're so excited to have you guys here today, and so excited to go through just lots and lots of great information, like I was saying. A lot of this is going to be like vital. And I challenge you guys to see who can get the most nuggets out of today. And it's not a matter of how good your listening is, it's going to be a matter of how good your writing skills are. And she shoots it like a fire hose, so just be like great information the whole day. She's one of the best teachers I've ever been around, so I'm really excited to hear from her today. And she's got really specific things for what our area is really needing, and she's listened to the hearts of a lot of the leaders and talked to a lot of us back and forth, and really knows specifically what we need, and she's got it. You know, and she was telling an analogy the other day that when you first get started in your business, you're like taking off in this plane and you're at like 500 feet, and you know your sponsor might be at like 1,000 feet, and your upline executive coordinator might be at like 5,000 feet. She's like, it's fun to get to come in because she's been in this business for so long that she gets to fly in at like 10,000, 15,000, you know, probably like 50,000 feet. Yeah. You know, she's in like outer space up here, and come in and be like, hey, here's some great advice for you coming in to make sure you miss all the obstacles. Most of you guys have heard this now, but my dad always grew up telling me, he goes, a smart person is able to learn from their own mistakes. A genius will learn from other people's mistakes, and idiots keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So, you know, it's really fun to get to talk to them because they were smart, got to learn from some of their own mistakes, probably talked to a few people that made other mistakes and learned along the way. But I challenge you guys to all be geniuses and learn from both her mistakes and her successes, because she's got lots of great information to share with you guys today. I don't want to take up too much of her time with giving her this introduction, but she is truly incredible. And then one other fun thing we're actually going to be doing during the retailing section is we're going to be doing a demonstration we do during the Wellness 101 class, which is for our fish oils, the omega-3 fish oils. Michaela's going to be demonstrating it here. I'll actually tell you what we're doing. Basically, so this is our fish oil, in case you haven't seen it. Super great stuff. Is it Lisa Hawkins here? Nope. Okay. So when she's here, she can tell you a lot more about the fish oil type stuff, like what's in them specifically. But we have Nature Made and Heart Health, and it's all about what are you actually paying for with your supplements. You know, it's like, you know, what are you actually getting value for value? So it's kind of a fun little demonstration we do. We poke a hole in one of these, and we poke a hole in a few of these, and see what happens to the cups. So that's all I'm going to say about it. And
so we'll do that one.
We'll go ahead and start it now, and while she's up here talking, and we'll get out. And that is it. Guys, I'm so excited to introduce my amazing mom, Stacy Whited.
Wow, I am so excited to be here today. Look at all of these beautiful faces, all of that incredible makeup, all that incredible anti-aging, all that incredible supplements you guys are taking, and a lot of Jesus in this room too, which is absolutely amazing. So what I want to do is, I want to go around, because I don't know all of you guys, just quickly, I'd like you to just say your name and how long you've been with Market America. If you are just a guest here today, evaluating it, that is awesome. We welcome you. So if you're a guest, say, I'm a guest. But if you've been with the business, just how long you've been with the business. We'll start over here.
Hi, my name's Dorian. My sister Indy just became a part of the business.
Woo-hoo! Yay!
I'm well known.
Perfect. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
I'm Shara, now Chalmers.
Woo-hoo!
This is Danny, and we joined about November, but we're getting married last year, so we're excited to really go to convention and really start going forward.
Awesome. Yay. Welcome. Congratulations, you guys.
Thanks for John. Yeah, just ready to knuckle down and just focus.
That's great.
So we don't want to be apart.
So we want to be together.
Yes, I don't blame you. That's awesome. Very good.
My name is Kelly, my husband and I joined in Figures.
Perfect.
Super excited.
Excited to have you.
I'm Katie, and I've been in for about 2.5 months.
Yay! Perfect. Nice to meet you, Katie.
I'm Indy, and I just joined 2 days ago. I'm Michelle, and I joined, I think, a month and a half ago.
Wow, that's awesome. So glad to have you. Nicole.
And Rich. We've been in since about February.
Okay, perfect. Exciting. Okay, just come right back here. All we're doing is saying your name and how long you've been with Market America, or if you're a guest.
Okay, so Mandy, and since February I've been an unfranchise owner.
Perfect. February is a good month I'm seeing here. We'll go over here to Natasha.
Natasha, and what?
How long have you been with Mark?
Since Christmas.
Since
I signed up on Christmas Day.
Oh,
wow. So awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Christmas gift.
Yeah, that's fun.
I'm Haley Joe. And we've been like a month and a half.
Okay, exciting, very good.
I'm Faith. This is my husband Todd. And we've been in 8 months.
8 months.
Man.
I'm Seth, and I've been about 2 months.
2 months. And Seth isn't from here, so Seth, you can say where you're from?
Oregon, Corvallis, Oregon.
Yay! Glad you made the trip. So we're gonna go back to the blacks on that table back there. We don't want to miss the awesome blacks.
Hi, I'm Deanna Black. I've been in since August.
Yeah.
Yay!
Who are you?
I've been in since she's been in.
I'm Danielle. I've been in almost 2 months.
Woo.
Yay! Exciting. And then we'll come back over here to Jim.
I'm Jim. I'm with Heidi. We've been in since March.
Since March. Exciting.
Hi, I'm Matt. I've been in since the end of June, and I'm originally from New York.
Come on.
Elizabeth, and I signed up at the beginning of June.
There you go.
And we live in South Lake Tahoe.
Yay!
There you go. Yeah.
I'm Andrew. I've been in for about 9 months.
Come on.
Awesome.
I'm Daniel. I've been in since the end of January.
Tim and my wife Emily, and hopefully we're going to be in real soon.
Yay! Exciting.
I'm Dewey and I'm a guest.
Okay, very good. And what was your first name?
Dewey?
Dewey? Love the name.
That's cool.
Very cool. Nice to meet you.
I'm Amber and I'm also a guest.
Very good. Excellent.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I've been in since February.
Perfect. That's another great one.
I'm Caleb. I've been in for 4 months.
For 4 months. Welcome, Caleb.
I'm Austin. I'm a guest.
Okay. I met you the other day. It's great to see you again, Austin.
My name's Don.
I'm Rhonda.
We got started a couple weeks ago.
Hey, yay!
Come on.
So exciting. That's awesome. And then up here in the front row, Rebecca. Is that right?
And I've been in for 3 months.
Okay. Very good.
I'm Dan. I'm the invaluable guest.
Yay! Glad you're here.
I'm Peter.
Molly.
And we've been in since January.
Yeah, very good. And I was here the last time you guys started your business. So exciting. And then back here are 2 cameramen. Woo woo! Yay!
I'm Alec. I've been in for 10 months now.
Awesome. I'm Jonathan. I've been in for 5 months.
Very good. That's exciting. That really helps me to know kind of where everyone is in the room today to kind of find out. So we've got some people that are evaluating it, which is really exciting, and some people that have been with the business for almost a year, which is exciting. But you can see here, it's brand new here in the area.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable opportunity. You know, when my husband and I started the business, we were 23 years old, and we've now been with the company for 20 years, and it has been completely life-changing. When we started, I think I've got some PowerPoints here. When we started, this is Colton. So when we started, this is actually our professional coordinator picture. That means we had earned $4,500 in a 4-week period when this picture was taken. So we had this taken so we could be in the magazine for recognition. But what a challenging time in our life. You know, when I was pregnant with Avery, the little redhead there, they found out I was allergic to the hormone that she was releasing. Very difficult position to be in when you're pregnant. And so at that time, we were living on a little more than both of our incomes. And so when my income was gone, we were in trouble. And so what ended up happening, I was in and out of the hospital. And finally they sent me home. They're like, there's not much we can do. We know this is going to last about 9 months. And then after that, you should be fine. And so it was a really tough time. They ended up putting a permanent IV in, and that's how I ate for several months.
Wow.
And then my 4th month in the pregnancy, I actually had a miracle. I was actually instantly healed. Absolutely amazing, unbelievable story with that. But you know, at 23, we didn't have a nest egg. We weren't planning for anything like that. And so when my income was gone, we were in trouble. And David started looking for ways to create income outside of his time. And he actually started working 100 hours a week. He was clocked in 100 hours a week at 4 different jobs. And I mean, it was really a tough time. He says he's still tired today. 20 years later. But we realized how at 23, how vulnerable we were. You know, as long as we were trading time for money, we could get in trouble. And that's when we were like, okay, how do you create leverage and how do you create residual income? And I don't know, has anybody here had experience with multi-level marketing? Raise your hand. Okay, we've had a little bit of experience and we were not very successful. And I find going around the country and talking to people that there's a lot of people that were in that position. And there's a lot of people that can be really skeptical about Market America because of their past background, which we're going to go through today. We're going to actually compare this to multi-level marketing, why we're not that. And that's really the purpose of today, is to do that. And so when we partnered with Market America and realized how different it was, we started following the franchising system. And that's what we're going to cover today. Market America is an unbelievable opportunity because it doesn't just give you this amazing business plan, it gives you a franchising system to follow, where you know exactly what you do in your 10 hours a week. You know, I met with somebody the other day, and when I was sitting down and talking with them, they had experience in multi-level marketing. And the problem with what they were doing was they were working really hard. I mean, truly, they thought about their company all the time. They were really working hard, but they had no idea what they were supposed to be doing on a weekly basis, and they had no idea when they started somebody in the business what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So they had this goal and this dream, and they were working really hard, but they didn't know really what to do. And so they were out there creating this big old mess, but no system really behind it. And that's the difference with Market America. We offer a franchising system that when I start Faith, she starts her business, she knows what she needs to do on Monday. And that's what this training is about today, is to teach you what you need to be doing on a weekly basis. It's reiterating that. Because Jim Ridinger had come from multi-level marketing. Do you guys know much about Jim Ridinger, the president and CEO? Some of you guys have probably been listening to some audios and all of that. Well, he'd been involved in multi-level marketing, and he was very successful. He was always the top money earner. He was always the one that people were pointing into and saying, hey, this guy's making it work. And his organization actually did very well. He had an organization at the largest of 35,000 people in his organization. It's a big organization, right? And he was making a lot of money. But his organization was doing really well in this multi-level marketing structure. But the company ended up going out of business. And so he was like really frustrated because that happened quite often in the industry. And so he started a consulting company where he would consult with the presidents and CEOs and the boards of multi-level marketing, and he would meet with them to share how to change the marketing plan so that the company would stay in business because they were paying out too much money, or how to change the marketing plan to pay out more money so they didn't keep losing distributors. And what he found after doing that for several years is the president and CEOs were just not willing to make the change, or they couldn't make the change. And so finally his wife said, JR, you have the idea, you've had the success, you need to start your own company. And so in 1992, when he started Market America, he took all of the success from his past in the industry, as well as all the years of consulting, understanding marketing plans, and then also when he took what he was doing with his organization of 35,000 people where they were having great success, and he brought it into Market America. And that's what we have, what we call the Basic 5. Now something I want to tell you today, because this is a common thing I hear as I'm training around the country, is people are like, oh, I've already been to a Basic 5 before, I don't need to go to another. Well, here's kind of my response to people is, until you know enough to be able to teach it, you need to be able to continue to come. Because here's the deal, you're the leader. Every person in here, when you become an unfranchised owner, you are the leader of your organization. And you need to be able to train your organization. And so you keep coming until you know how to train it. And then what happens is once you know how to train it, then you want to keep coming. Because it's like, oh my gosh, this thing is amazing. And you have an organization of people that you're trying to train. Does that make sense to everyone? And so until you know how to train it and you can do it yourself, continue to come, continue to learn, because it's a franchising system with Market America. And that's exactly what we did. David and I started Colorado Springs back in 1996, and we became professional in this industry. We didn't know a lot about life, we didn't know a lot about other things, but we knew a lot about Market America. And we became a professional in what we were doing, and we took responsibility. And that's really what's happening. There's several leaders here in this room that have taken a lot of responsibility, and that's why a lot of you are here today. Obviously, you have Colton and Michaela that helped to, establish the area. They started it. It was just them around a kitchen table when it first started here in the area. But very shortly after that, the Blacks came on board, and they were helping to make that happen. And Charity and Gabe, and then you had Mike Machero, and you have Eric and Kate Bagley, and then you had Todd and Faye Strombeck. And there's so many people that have stepped up now to take leadership positions that truly this area is exploding. And now the Needhams have come on. I mean, truly, this area is growing. And it's one that the company is recognizing and they're watching, which is really exciting. They're seeing the tremendous growth that you guys are having here, and they're watching it. And I really believe that you guys will be a bar that is set for the company of what can actually possibly happen in an area. It's really exciting. I'm seeing just truly, I just want to tell you what I'm seeing based on the growth that you guys are having here. You guys have had some basic fives, which is getting ready to lead to local seminars where, you have these bigger pin levels that are coming in, and they are, training, which you guys have had some in the area. But I think your biggest numbers now have been 100 and some. An event I see here in the very near future, 400 to 500 people at an event. Yeah. Now, in that happening, think about it, that has to happen within your organization. Does that make sense? Because you guys are all the leaders here in the area. You are the ones that are pioneering this area, which is really exciting. So you guys have tremendous growth coming your way. That's exactly what happened to David and I in Colorado Springs. It exploded where you guys are today. It continued to grow to where there was local seminars of 400 to 500 people in that area. But our finances started coming in, which is really exciting. At the end of the year, at the end of 1 year, we were annualized at a six-figure income. I mean, that was just really crazy. We were 24 years old, making six figures. But at that point, we were following the franchising system. We knew how to do it, and we had a lot of other people that were doing the exact same thing. They were able to produce the same income that we were, and how exciting. I mean, truly to sit across the table from people and say, I've done this, but you can do the exact same thing that I have done, and I can help you. I mean, is that exciting? Yeah. I mean, truly, because you've probably heard people complain before about their finances. You're like, I'm sorry, or I'll pray for you, which is absolutely amazing. You want to do that. But then also to have something that you can offer to say, I can also help you. Yeah. To be able to do that. To create residual income, which is the power of what we do. I believe that God, when you were created, put a destiny and a purpose within you. It's something that would excite you, that would be able to change the world. And I think a lot of times money gets in the way in that process. Would you guys agree? It's like, oh my gosh, I got finances, I got to worry about this, and just the stress of life. So truly, if you can help people get money out of the way so they can pursue the things that God has put within them without having the stress of finances is absolutely amazing. And that's what we realized, with the company, we were able to produce that six-figure income. It continued, it doubled the next year. The next year when we were 27, we hit executive director, which is $25,000 to $36,000 in a 4-week period. And then, at 27 years old, we're like, now what do we want to do with our life? This income is coming in. Now what do we want to do? And so we tried some crazy stuff, which was very fun. I pursued a music career, which was a ton of fun. When I went to college, on a vocal scholarship, and absolutely loved it. Always had dreams of going to Nashville. And so when I was 30, David's like, why don't we just go to Nashville? Why don't we go there? I mean, the money's coming in, why not? So we went there, and instead of waiting to be discovered, we actually started our own record label. Yeah. That's how you do it the fast way. Yeah. Started our own record label, and then with Market America, supporting that. And then the cool thing is, we already had friends all across the United States from being with Market America. Does that make sense? You go to a major event, like I think how many of you guys in this room are going to go to Greensboro? Okay, so when you go to Greensboro in the next couple of weeks, you're going to meet people from all over the United States. I encourage you to get their cards, stay in contact with them, get to know them. That's exactly what we did. So you could imagine when I decided to come out with a CD and I was going to go to tour or sing in Baltimore, people in Baltimore were like, hey, we want to come watch you. I had a built-in audience right away. Nice. Of all friends and people that loved me and were trying to, support me. I mean, unbelievable. So we did that. That was amazing. We toured for a couple of years, sold CDs, kind of got that out of my system, had a great time, And then in 2010, our lives had changed so much, and it impacted us so much. And God just put in our heart just this desire to serve anywhere that we could serve. You know, I would look for opportunities to serve. You know, and there was a rest home down the street from where I lived, and so I started going there, and I would play bingo, and I would sing, and I would do their hair, and all this stuff. And then I started bringing Avery, my daughter, with me, and she would do it as well. And you know, that was just like, I had a lot of fun. And then I heard about Compassion International. And so we started sponsoring children. You know, our family sponsored a child, and then we sponsored another child, and pretty soon we had children all over our refrigerator. You know, there's just this real desire. And so in June of 2010, we sat down to go over like goals for the next year. And my husband was like, Stacy, you know, I want us to throw out something kind of crazy. He said, what if we went for 1 year somewhere to serve for people that can't do anything for us? I'm like, that's awesome, where are we going? He's like, wait a second, I had all these reasons that you were supposed to do. And so we did, and so we were trying to figure out where we would go, and so we thought, well, we'll go to Mexico because it's not too far from home, so if it gets too crazy, we can get right back, you know, and that actually happened. But so we decided we went to Mexico, and we lived in Mexico for a couple of years. And we actually, our second year, moved into an orphanage, a children's home, and we were co-directors there, and Colton and Avery, here's our daughter Avery, Colton, and then our son Sebastian, which I'll tell you about. We moved in there. Colton and Avery were tutoring the kids, and it was just an unbelievable thing. Sebastian, this one right here, he came into our lives when he was 18, and he grew up in this orphanage. But it was truly like God just opened our heart, inserted him, and closed it back up. And we were like, how can we spend more time with this young man? And so he ended up moving in with us, and then he was too old to adopt based on the United States standards and how that would work with him being able to come back and forth to the United States. So he didn't get any citizenship rights. But he is our son. He's not adopted on paper, but he is our son. And so when we went to Mexico, not only did we go to serve in an orphanage and all that, but we came back with a son, which was absolutely amazing, and we loved it. And then in March of 2011, I believe, we had Colton and David had a run-in with the drug cartel. And another miracle story, there were actually 8 guys with machine guns surrounding their car, and telling them to get out of the car, and God got them out of it. Which is absolutely amazing. They outran the drug cartel, and they did. They really did. So another miracle and amazing story there. You'll have to maybe ask Colton sometime, because truly it is a miracle. And so we left the country, and you're like, okay, now what are we going to do? You know, I mean, truly, we loved being there in Mexico. We had no desire to leave. And through a series of events and a phone call with Jack Hayford, we ended up at Bethel, BSSM, and absolutely loved it. We were here for 2 years in school. Colton and Michaela and I did school together, and my husband did first year. And then Colton and Michaela got married, and they're like, yes, everybody give them a hand. I were on this 5-year sabbatical where we hadn't done anything with our business, but during that whole time continued to come in. It paid for everything. It paid for everything that we were doing. It paid for the stuff we were doing at the children's home. It paid for living. It paid for going to BSSM. Everything that we did not we didn't have to do any work other than, you know, just collect the residual of what Market America produced. And it really is, like I was talking the other night, if you're a guest here tonight or today and you're like, well, how does that happen? Residual income is happening around you. It's just hard for the average person to be able to achieve that. So let's talk about how that happens. I said the other night, you know, you have Garth Brooks. He writes a song. 10 years later, that song is played. He's paid for that song, even though he wrote it 10 years prior. Yeah. He is producing residual income. You know, Elvis Presley is a great example of that. You know, he is producing residual income, and he's no longer even alive. Exactly, he's dead. Exactly. And so residual income is happening. It's just how does the average person actually get that? And that's really what Market America is about. It's teaching you how to create leverage and how to create residual income that's able to pay you so you're able to do the things that you want to do in life. So we come out of retirement because Colton and Michaela are like, we want to build an unfranchise. And so they pulled us out of retirement, and we've been helping them, but truly everything that you see in the area is them deciding that we are going to do this, and then an amazing team of people that join them to make that happen. And it's really exciting because you guys are not just changing your lives, you're changing a lot of other people's lives that aren't even in this room yet by doing what you're doing. So it's really exciting. Give yourself a hand. So we're going to go through the basic 5, but really what I'm doing today is not a real basic 5, just so you guys know, as far as a typical basic 5 as far as the company is concerned. What I'm going through, although you will get a certificate because I'm going through all the basics, but I'm going to go through specifically what this area needs based on where you are in the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to break it down to exactly what you guys are needing from the basic 5. So you guys can see I have slides, but I also have notes that I'm going to be going through. So most of the stuff today will actually be on the whiteboard. So you do want to make sure you guys can see. Can you see the whiteboard, Todd?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see the whiteboard. And then come on in, guys. Welcome. Jordan and Lee. We are glad you guys are here. Colton, can you just do me a favor as I'm going through the day? Can you just like hold up a sign like when it's like 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, just so I know?
10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, 12 o'clock, so that I kind of know.
12 o'clock.
Exactly. Sounds like happy days. Okay, so here are the basic fundamentals of our business. So you want to write these down because this is where you're going to be spending your time. Okay? 5 things that you do in the business on a weekly basis. The first one is developing the right attitude and knowledge. So you have to know where you're going in the business. You have to also have a positive attitude because we don't have a building to go to. You have, and so in that, it's all an emotional business. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Because you can't go somewhere. It's all about you. You know, when Tim shows up to share the business plan, you are Market America to that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's what they see. And so you are representing the company everywhere that you go. Goals and goal statement. If you don't know where you're going, you know, if you kind of have this dream, but you really don't know where you're going, it just remains a dream without a goal, which we'll go through today. Retailing. This is what makes our company legal. That's very important. In order for a company to be legal, they have to have a product or a service that gets to the end consumer. If you're looking at something and there's no product and there's no service, that's an illegal company. Okay, so you have to have that. This also, in retailing, it makes your business profitable. Retailing should pay for all of your events. As you start to build your business, your retail profit should pay for your ticket to an event, like coming up in Greensboro, or your travel expense. Those are all things that it shouldn't cost you to run your business. The retail should actually pay for that. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Prospecting, recruiting, and sponsoring. This is where we create leverage. So when I partner with Rebecca, that is creating leverage. Everything that Rebecca does is going to pay Rebecca, but it's also going to pay me. And so then when Rebecca sponsors Mandy, right? When Rebecca sponsors Mandy, then everything that Mandy does, Mandy's going to get paid on, but so is Rebecca, and so am I. That's the power of leverage, and that's how we create residual income with the company. And then follow up an ABC pattern, which I think is the most misunderstood thing in all of the basic 5. And so today, that's why I want Colton to keep me on track. Even if I have to skip through some stuff, I'm going to make sure that you guys get that one right there, the follow-up and ABC pattern, and that you guys completely understand that. So even if I have to skip through something to get to that, I will, to make sure you guys have a full understanding of the follow-up and ABC pattern. So starting with attitude and knowledge. JR said this, and this is actually, so I've been with the company since 1996. This has been a slide we've used since 1996, so you guys know. So this is very important. Okay, the difference between success and failure is simple. The individual who succeeds simply does what the individual who failed didn't do or was not willing to do. So anytime that you see success in Market America, you just know that they were doing what somebody that was failing was not doing. Or was not willing to do. Because in this company, you're going to come across things that require you to step out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you. Anytime that there's growth in your life, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. That's what it's all about, the ropes course, right? You know, if you're with your BSSM, that works for us, you know. I mean, this can be pretty intense. The same thing with Market America. If you want to have success, you're going to have to overcome some fears. So what do you guys think would be some fears that people would have with this business? Just start saying now. Phone calls. What else?
Fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection. That's a big one. What else?
You wouldn't make money.
What's that?
The fear that no matter how you try, you wouldn't make money.
Fear that you're not going to be successful.
That you don't know enough.
That you don't know enough.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
That you don't deserve to be wealthy.
That you don't deserve to be wealthy.
People won't listen to you.
That people won't listen to you.
Yeah, losing credibility with people.
Losing credibility with people.
Being misunderstood.
Being misunderstood. It's really good.
Not being able to lead well.
Not being able to lead well. Man, these are all great things.
That people will be offended that you're using them for your business.
Okay, very good. Very good. Anything else? So all of those things are real. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
And they all have to be addressed. And most of the time, in most of those things that we've covered, it's going to start with attitude and knowledge.
Yep.
Most of the things, most of the concerns start with truly understanding what you have your hands on and changing a perspective of how you look at things. Like let's go to shares, which is really a great one because that is, that could be a major concern. When you really understand Market America and when you're offering this business to people, I always approach it as an evaluation process. Like I have Matt evaluate the business. From the time that I talk to Matt, you know, if I was to make a phone call to Matt, I would say, Matt, my husband and I are expanding a business in the area. We're looking for some sharp people to evaluate it. This may or may not be for you, but if nothing else, I would really love for you to look over it and you might be able to point me to people and help me out. So when I sit down with Matt, you can see I've probably done that for 20 years. It's been the same one all along, which I'll go through today. But when I do that with Matt, that's not just a line. That's not just trying to get him to sit down. I truly want him to evaluate it because I do not know if Matt is right for this business. I don't know because I don't know what's going on in Matt's life.
Yeah.
And so when I sit down with Matt, I'm going to spend my time talking about Matt, finding out what are his needs. What is he looking for? Does he even have time to do something else on the side? Does he have any desires? Is he completely satisfied? Once I find that out, then from there, if I feel I have something to offer, then I will share the business opportunity with him. If I feel that, man, this guy is satisfied, he's happy, or he's doing another company and he's happy, I completely leave him alone.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because then it's not about his goals, it's about my goals. If I'm trying to force something down somebody's throat and they're completely happy, it's all about me. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
But if I'm talking to Matt and I find that Matt has a problem, I might possibly have a solution to help him through that process. And so in this process then, let's say that I get done at the end of the plan, which I'm going to go through today, but I will say at the end of the plan, Matt, based on what you've seen so far, is there enough interest that you would like to evaluate this further? Which means get your questions answered, find out some more information. And so Matt says, yeah, absolutely, I'd like to see the marketing plan again, or I'd like to meet some of the people, or whatever. I'm going to give him some options at that point if he would like to evaluate it further. So every step through this process is him saying, yes, I want to do this, not me saying, Matt, you got to do this or you would be great at this business. Does that make sense?
That's good.
And so then once we do partner, if he decides yes, and it really is him coming to me and saying, I am ready to get started. Okay, I need to get some product, I'm ready to get started. So when that happens then I then find out through this process what is Matt's goal, and then everything that we do in Market America for him is based on his goal. It's not based on my goal, it's based on his goal. So if Matt wants to produce an extra $1,000 a month, then I'm going to help him through the process of developing $1,000 a month. Does that make sense to you guys? And so it has nothing to do with me, the whole thing has to do with him. Now when Matt becomes successful, guess what happens for me?
You are successful.
I'm successful, but I first have to help him.
Yeah.
You guys understand that?
Yeah.
And so when you really look at the process of how you are approaching this business and how you're having people look at it, it stops being about you and it starts being about that other person.
Yeah, that's good.
And at any time in the part, they can actually say, this is not right for me. And I could also say, you know, Matt, after working together, I just don't think the timing is right for you. And at that point, then he has a decision whether he wants to move forward or not move forward. But I'll tell you this, there are people out there right now that are looking at their bills thinking, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make it? Or they have a goal and dream in them and think, there's no way that I'll ever be able to pursue that. I have to work all the time. And they are praying for an opportunity. And you may be that solution for that person. How many of you guys have seen my parents' video, Ernie and Jeanette Hikus? Raise your hand. Okay, so more people need to see that video.
We'll post it on the Facebook page.
Okay, you've got to see, okay, you have to go on your Facebook page today on MBT Ready and look at this. But I will warn you, you need a tissue.
Yeah.
Because anybody that sees it cries.
Yeah.
Okay? But so what happened is, my parents, we started them in business. They were reaching retirement, they were in their 50s. They sat down with the financial planner, and when they did that, the financial planner said, you will never retire. If you do, you're going to live on a third of the income you're currently living on. My parents were barely living. You know, they were school teachers. And so my dad had always been this big dreamer. He'd always talked about, someday, sis, we're going to travel here, and we're going to go there, and you know, we're going to be able to do this, and I'm going to have a fishing boat, and all of these different things. And I saw my dad start to die. I mean, literally, he started getting numbness in his fingers and his face due to stress of thinking, I will have to work, and all of those dreams that I thought someday I'll be able to do will never come. And so my husband and I started with Market America in March, just a couple months prior. And so we sat down with them, and we showed them this business plan. And it has completely changed their life. And you're going to see it in the video. My parents live in a town of 1,500 people. They were school teachers for 30 years. And they hit executive director, 25,000 to 36,000 in a 4-week period.
Man.
In a town of 1,500 people.
That's so awesome.
Is that crazy? But watch this. This is what's so cool. I guess it'd be one full block. One full block from them was another school teacher of mine. In fact, he was my driver's education teacher, but he was also vice principal of the high school that I went to. He actually partnered with Market America, and he created a 6-figure income with Market America. And then I have my cosmetology teacher that lives 5 miles from my parents. She partnered with Market America. She makes 6 figures with Market America. She's part of the $1 Million Club.
Crazy.
And then I have an aunt that lived about 20 minutes from my parents. She was a school teacher. She partnered with my parents, and she hit $7,500 to $10,000 in a 4-week period. You know, with the company in a small community.
Yeah.
You know, and so truly, that is taking something and being able to change people's lives, right?
Yeah.
With an opportunity. So it really comes from what is somebody's goal, where are they in their life, and how can I help them in doing that?
So we should become school teachers.
There you go. No kidding. I know. That was just the community, you know, with all of their influence. But really, school teachers do very well. You know, in school teachers, they do well. But let's go back to Matt's situation. Let's say that I meet with Matt, and Matt really isn't interested. But let's say that Matt is a realtor, and I really liked Matt. I'm going to say, Matt, do you have some business cards? He said, sure. And I'll get some of his business cards, and as I'm out and about and I'm talking to people and they're looking for real estate or they're wanting to buy a home or whatever, I'll say, you know, I met a really great guy. Here's his card. You should talk to him. Because what I found in life is every time that you meet with somebody, it should be a win-win. It doesn't matter what. He decided not to do Market America. It doesn't matter. I want to help him in whatever his goal is and where he is in life. And I do that with anything. If I meet somebody and they're really great at cutting grass, I'll take down their name and I'll be like, hey, you need somebody to cut your grass? This person is really great. Because I found when you do that in life, it always comes back to you. When you take your eyes off yourself and focus on others, you can't help but be blessed. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, individual who succeeds simply does what the individual who failed wouldn't do. Okay. How many of you guys, we need the basic 5 weekly checklist?
Go.
Okay. This is what a lot of times will happen in Market America, is people will start looking at what they do and they start trying to make it very difficult. So long-term success is dependent on your ability to implement a simple task that can be duplicated by a large group of people versus a difficult task that can only be repeated by a small group of people. So they're handing out the weekly checklist right now, which I believe is my next slide. Can I get a copy of that too, Michaela? Thank you. So let me ask you a question. How many people in here, when you start Market America, want to produce a residual income that's going to continue to pay you? Raise your hand. Okay, and even if you're evaluated, if you were evaluating it and you were going to start, would you want a residual income that's going to pay you? Yeah, exactly. So it should be a yes for everyone. Okay. This, what you're holding in your hand, this is what you do on a weekly basis. Okay, this is the franchising system in Market America. Remember when I talked about, I met with that lady that was involved in multi-level marketing, and she didn't know what to do. She was working really hard, but she had no idea what she was supposed to be doing in her time, during her time. People will look at this and they'll be like, this is nothing. And they'll think, I gotta do definitely something harder to make this happen. Right? If I'm gonna be talking about creating $100,000 a year, I need something much more difficult than I'm doing right here. Well, it goes back to what I just covered right here. This is where we're different from a job or anything like that. In a job, it's a lot about difficult tasks, right? If you want to produce 6 figures, you're going to have to sell a lot of houses. You're going to whatever. It's going to have to be something that's very difficult. In Market America, it has nothing to do with difficult. Because you want what the masses can do, not what you could do. Maybe you'd be a rock star and you could do a ton. But if the masses can't do that, what they do is they look at Natasha and think, I could never do what she did. Yeah. So guess what? They don't do anything. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. You are not paid on people doing nothing. You're paid on people doing a little bit. Does that make sense? And you doing a little bit. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with your organization. So in looking at this, how many people have seen this before? Raise your hand. Oh, look at this room. Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay, now, here's a question for you. You've seen it before, but how many people are actually doing this every single week? Raise your hand. It's really good. Look at that. Okay. So let me lay out a challenge to you guys. I'm going to lay it out there and see what you guys have to say about it. I lay out a challenge to you that if you do this weekly checklist and you fill it out perfectly and you get a 40 on it, so we'll talk about scoring, but every category is filled out every single week for 52 weeks. If you're not at a 6-figure income, I'll pay you $1,000.
I'm in.
Wow.
It's the truth. I will pay you $1,000. If you do this and you get a 40 every single week, if you're not at a 6-figure income, I'll pay you $1,000. That's a pretty good little thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
You know why I know this? Because I know that if you do this for 52 weeks and you get a 40, you'll be at a 6-figure income.
So good. It's great.
I know it. There's no doubt about it. I've seen it for 20 years. I've seen too many people do it, and I've worked with too many people that have made 6 figures. And I know that you guys can do it. If you look at every one of these tasks on here, I bet every person in here would say that you could do it. In fact, I bet if I ran an ad in the paper here in Reading, and I said, working 10 hours a week, I'll pay you minimum wage, and these are the 10 things that people had to do, that people would take that job.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree? Yeah. They would do it for minimum wage, but will you do it for yourself for 6 figures?
Right. Right.
I mean, really? Good.
Yeah.
Really? And so the question is, are you willing to work for yourself? Are you willing to buy into a system that's already been proven? There's no question. Would you guys agree? You guys have already seen the success of Market America. It's been around since 1992. $7 billion. It paid out $3.6 billion to unfranchised owners.
Wow.
Every quarter's been bigger than the quarter before. The company is not on trial. It is working.
Come on.
The only question is will you work for you? That's the only question. And it comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. It's that fear of something that a lot of times will stop people in the process. It'll stop them. And I've found a lot of times, and I know you deal how many BSSM people or medical people do you have here? Woo! A lot of you guys think. We deal with this a lot in BSSM, is not being scared of what other people think, right? But that's a lot of times the fear here, right? In making a phone call, you're scared of what that person's going to think if you make that phone call, right?
Yep.
But it doesn't have anything to do with them. And so really looking at that, and if your heart is in the right place, that's the important thing. If your heart is in the right place, like my conversation with Matt, you have a clear conscience that I am truly doing this to help that person,
Yeah,
then you don't have to worry about the fear.
that's good.
If your heart is in the right place. So let's talk about the weekly checklist. Here are your steps. Every one of these things are in here for a reason, so you can't like say, oh, I'm not going to do that one. That makes sense? Every one of these steps are very important. You only have a handful of things that you're doing. It's only 10 hours a week, so you can't cut out one of them. What I find a lot of times is some people will be really great at retailing, so they retell a ton, but they don't show the business plan. Or somebody over here is really great at showing the business plan, but they don't retell, so they show the business plan a lot, but they're not retailing. Every one of these things are critical for building your business, and not one could be left out, okay? So listening to an audio, reading 20 to 30 minutes a day, reading your goal statement, selling one product a week to a new customer, ordering from your own shop.com each week, showing the plan to one personal prospect per week, following up one time a week, attending 1 to 2 meetings a week, and then positive out loud verbal projections. So let's talk about how that actually happens. How many of you guys have actually seen this before? Check you guys out, look at that. Very good, there's just a few. When I started the business, JR spent all of his time talking about this right here, believe it or not. So you want to write it down. This was his equation. So in Market America, you have time that you're putting into the business. That's the T. You have time. You're trying to get growth, which creates volume, which creates income. But there's an exponent up there, which is extremely important. The Q stands for quality time. It's not just putting in 10 hours a week. It's knowing that those 10 hours a week that you're putting in, they're quality by doing the things that you need to be doing in order to reach success, which is your weekly checklist. So what I see a lot of times people do is they're saying, I'm putting in 10 hours a week, but they're not doing the things from the weekly checklist, so it's not quality time. How many people in here know like math very well? Okay? In the quotient up here, if that's a 0, what happens to the time? It disappears, right? So if this is not quality time, you're just wasting your time.
Right.
It has to be quality time. It has to be doing the things specifically that are on the franchising system in order to be successful. Plus growth, but the growth, the D over there, stands for duplication. So that means people have to be able to duplicate what you're doing in order for your growth to sustain. So you could have a lot of people that you personally sponsored and brought into this company, but if they can't do what you just did, it's not going to lead to anything. It's not going to lead to success, and it's certainly not going to lead to residual income.
Yep.
Does that make sense to you guys?
Totally.
So you have to make sure that everything that you're doing is duplicatable, which goes back to the weekly checklist. In looking at this, everybody's looking at this, and we're going to go through it today. But would you guys agree that every person could do everything on this list?
Yes.
So there's nothing on there that somebody has to be a superstar. Every person could do it, down to a 10-year-old could actually do this right here.
Yep.
You know, this is not a difficult test. This is not rocket science, right? So everybody could do it. That means it's duplicatable. If you are doing something that a rock star could only do, you're never going to create duplicatable growth, which will never create residual income. I do know people in Market America that make $100,000 a year, but what they're doing is not duplicatable, and it is not going to be residual income. They can't walk away from it because it's all based on what they're doing. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
What you want, I'm assuming, is residual income that allows you to be able to walk away and do the things that God's put in your heart to do. Is that right?
Yeah.
If you want that, it has to be duplicatable growth, which comes from this basic 5-weekly checklist. Okay? So what I'm going to challenge you to do today, I remember the challenge of $1,000 at the end of the year. Okay? You need to find somebody that you're accountable to each week if you would like to take the challenge, that you're accountable to each week, that you are filling out the weekly checklist, you're scoring it, and you are sending it to somebody that is looking at it as well. Okay, so a senior upline partner, somebody that's looking at it and helping you. That person is not there to beat you up. They're not there to say, Andrew, what the heck? What are you doing here?
I don't know, Stacy. I've been beat up a little by Colton.
That's because you guys have been roommates.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're like brothers. It's really about them helping you to look at your business and see where you might need some help. So for example, let's say that Austin becomes an unfranchised owner and he starts filling out his weekly checklist. And let's say that he's doing unbelievable on this, but 3 weeks in a row, he didn't sell a product. Does that make sense? He did everything else, but he didn't sell a product. If he's sending that to me and he's taking a picture of it, and I'm looking at it, I can easily see that Austin is going to need some help in selling product. Does that make sense? Yeah. So then I can come to Austin and say, okay, Austin, let's come up with a game plan to help you sell some product. Let's have a Wellness 101, or which store are you specializing in? Okay, how can we get some different techniques for doing that? But then as his business partner, it allows me to help him. Versus maybe a month down the road and he started, or 2 months down the road he started, and I'm not receiving this. I have no idea what's going on in his business. I don't know how to help him, and he's floundering, but I don't even know that that's happening. Does that make sense? And so this weekly checklist is critical. Every person in here should be taking a picture of it every week and sending it to someone as a senior business partner. Every person in here. It should not be a question if you're wanting to produce a professional income in Market America. Okay? Because this is your franchising system. Okay? And again, that person is only there to help you in your business. So what we say, okay, write this down. Measure, monitor, adjust, and control. Measure, monitor, adjust, and control. That's what we do in this business. We help people when we receive things. We're measuring it, how's it going? We're monitoring it. We're helping them to adjust so that they can control the outcome. Does that make sense? Measure, monitor, adjust, and control. All right, everybody got that formula down? Everybody understand the formula?
Yes.
That is a very important part of how the business works. There are 3 types of unfranchised owners in Market America. I bet you guys haven't seen this yet either. I'm pulling out the old school. Make sure everybody can see the board. Okay, we have waiting unfranchised owners. We have stable unfranchised owners. And we have go now unfranchised owners. Yes?
Just a question. Was the V volume?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, volume. That's exactly right. Thank you, Michelle. So we have waiting, stable, and go now. Everybody that's within Market America falls somewhere in these 3 categories. They're either waiting, they're either stable, or they're either go now. Every one of these categories are critical for our business. Okay, just so you guys know it. One's not better than another. They're all critical and very important. A waiting unfranchised owner is simply somebody that maybe got started, they are enjoying the products, but they really don't have much of an interest in building the business right now. Does that make sense? David and I, when we were on a 5-year sabbatical, we were considered a waiting distributor. We weren't attending any meetings, we weren't doing any of those things, but we were living on the residuals and enjoying the products of Market America. Okay? You have a stable unfranchised owner. That's somebody that is selling products, they're attending the meetings, they're enjoying the process, but they're not necessarily doing their weekly checklist. Okay? And then a go now distributor or unfranchised owner is somebody that is doing that weekly checklist and they're like, I need this to happen now. Does that make sense? all of these people are very important and you love them where they are, you never try to make a stable distributor become a go-now distributor. It's all dependent on their timing. Does that make sense? And you never try to make a stable distributor become a go-now distributor. You love them where they are and you keep inviting them and you keep encouraging them and you see how you can help them. But you're going to spend, just so you guys know, 90% of your time with go-now distributors. Why do you think that is? They're going now. Yeah, because they actually need your help.
Yeah.
They're going now. They actually need your help. Okay? Where a stable and franchise owner, they're enjoying the product, they're attending the meetings, but they're not doing the weekly checklist and they don't really need your help. These people right here, they're like, I need this to work right now. This is where you spend majority of your time. But you love each person right where they are. Because again, it's their business. Does that make sense? It's their business. You're just loving them where they are and encouraging them because you never know at what point in their business they may become a go-now distributor. David and I came out of our sabbatical of 5 years straight to go now because Colton and Michaela. We're like, okay, they want to make this work, we're going to help them. We'll be right there beside them. So we went from waiting right to go now. We didn't even go to stable. And it went straight to go now. You know? So people will go back and forth on this. Each one is very important. That's important for leaders in the room to understand that.
Yeah, that's very good.
So if you are wanting to create a six-figure income, though, your first priority is you must be a go now and franchise owner. If you want to create six figures, you have to become a go now and franchise owner. So what does that look like? What is that exactly? A go now and franchise owner is someone who is consistently learning, mastering, and implementing the basic 5 and leading by example. So a go now distributor is someone who's consistently learning. That means you can't say, I've been to one basic 5, I don't have to go back again.
Come on.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Consistently learning. They're mastering it. So in order to master it means you got to be practicing it and doing it, not just learning it, but now you're doing it, you're implementing it, which is the weekly checklist, right? And implementing the basic 5 and leading by example. I'll tell you this, your group will do what you do. People always do what you do, not what you say. You know, we probably learned that in parenting, right? You tell your kid not to do something, but you find out you're doing it, they're doing it too. You know, I mean, it's just, that's how it happens. So they'll always do what you're doing, so you have to lead by example. Did everybody get this definition down? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here's a beautiful thing. A go now is reset, the status of a go now is reset on a daily basis. So you can decide at any time that tomorrow you want to be a go now and franchise owner, and you can start being a go now and franchise owner. Does that make sense? So Emily hasn't even started the business yet. She's not even a partner at this point. But Emily can decide tomorrow that she's going to be a go now and franchise owner, and right away she's on her way to a six-figure income.
Yeah, that's good.
Does that make sense? At any time. And it doesn't matter what somebody's previous occupation was. That's really important too. In life, it really depends on what you have done in your past or what your education is or a lot of those things in order to create six figures. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
In Market America, you come in, everybody is on the same playing field. It doesn't matter what their education from their past was. It doesn't matter the success that they had in their past. It's 100% dependent on the work that they're willing to do. I have a really great example for you. So David and I went to our first event, like what you guys are going to in Greensboro. We went to our very first one, and we had just become franchise owners. David's brother, remember, I think you've probably heard the story before, he's 14 years older than David. He made multiple six figures. You know, the most we'd ever made in our life was $25,000 a year. We were 23, you know, you saw the picture of us. So I don't think he had a lot of hope for us, to be honest with you. And so he brought us to the first event, and he brought another guy with him that was evaluating the business, but this guy was like a big dog. He was making like $300,000 a year doing something. He's really successful. And so he brings both of us. So we're one of the people he had at the major event, and this other guy he had with him, his name was Dan, that he had at this major event. So Kelly was taking us around and introducing us to people like, you know, like top moneyers like Elizabeth Weber and, you know, Mark and Julie Scholl and all these different people. He never one time introduced David and I. He introduced his friend over Dan and Jennifer. We were like, pick-me. We were like donkey on track, pick-me. Never one time. I don't know if he's embarrassed of us? Or what? But do you know that today, Dan never even decided to do this business. He never even partnered with Merck in America. You know, and I'm sure on paper for Kelly, it probably looked like, look at this guy. Look at all of his experience. Look at all the people that he knows. Look at all of that. You know, there's David and I knowing nothing, have no money whatsoever, have no experience, have no credibility, but it didn't matter. When you become an unfranchised owner, it has nothing to do with your past, has nothing to do with success, and it has nothing to do with how much money you've made, nothing. You decide you want to become an unfranchised owner, follow the system, and you can make it. And you never know on the outside what's going to happen. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It's a really funny story. Doesn't matter about current challenges, opinions, they always change, I'll tell you that. Opinions always change. You know, people might be like, oh, this thing will never work. You know, and then you get started and you're successful and they'll be like, here's that kind of person. You know, their opinion's always going to change, you know. So it's amazing how that happens. Here's your proper focus. Focus not on the hours that you are willing to work. So I see people get excited about this business, you know, let's say Danielle, she gets excited about this business and she's like, I'm going to kill it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yes. But when she looks at this, it really doesn't have much to do with all of the hours that she's willing to put in. The focus really has to be on the hours that I'm putting in, can I get other people to do that exact same thing? The focus is on not what you're able to do, but what you're able to do through an organization of people.
That's good.
Does that make sense? So, yes, you are doing the weekly checklist, and you might look at this and think, how would I ever create $100,000 a year doing this? Because there's probably people in this room that have made $100,000 a year, and you're thinking, I did a whole lot more than that to create $100,000 a year, right? So it doesn't have anything to do with this. This is what you're doing on a weekly basis. But guess what your organization is doing as well? The exact same thing. So let's look at, I showed this the other night at the UVP, but let's look at how that unfolds. This is Natasha. She has a couple of people who lead to a couple of people, who lead to a couple of people, who lead to a couple of people. Natasha's putting in 10 hours a week, but so is this person. And every person is doing the weekly checklist. They're putting in 10 hours a week. This person is putting in 10 hours a week. This person is putting in 10 hours a week. This person is putting in 10, 10, 10, 10, because everybody I partner with can do that. Does that make sense? So Natasha's putting in 10 hours a week, but how many hours of production is she getting out of her organization? 80. Is it 80? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 80 hours of production, and how much is she doing?
10. Crazy.
10. So it really has nothing to do with what you're doing. What's it have to do with? What your team is doing. But your team will always do what you are doing.
Yeah, come on. It's good.
And so you have to be really careful. If you are putting in 60 hours a week in this company, you don't want to tell anyone that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to think, Austin's going to think, I could never do that. I only have 10, I got a job. And I'm going to school. You know? And so you have to know, I'm going to put in 10, but every person that I'm working with is putting in 10 as well. That is where ongoing residual income comes from, and that's the power of our company. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So focus on the hours that you're willing to work, but the total number of hours of production within your organization. Okay, how many of you guys saw the meet-on that David and I did on Wednesday night? Okay, a few. You really need to check it out. So what you want to do is you want to go to meeton.com. So this is a free service, just so you guys know, with Market America. Go to meeton.com, and you're going to go to, there's actually 3 things I want you to go for. You're going to register. It doesn't cost you any money whatsoever. You sign in, sign up, whatever. It doesn't cost you. And then you're going to put David and Stacy Whited in the search bar. We have quite a few things there, but this is one that you're looking for specifically. David and Stacy Whited in the search bar. And it's going to pull up a lot of videos. There's 3 videos that you're going to be looking for. The first is the one that we just covered on Wednesday night, and it's called the Super, what is it? Super Secrets of the Super Successful, or something like that. Super Secrets of the Super Successful. All S's.
Super secret shortcuts.
Super Secret Shortcuts of the Super Successful. That's what it was. Don't say that 5 times too fast. Okay, so you're looking for that one first, because we're covering 45-year plan hours versus 2 to 3-year plan hours. So you want to do that one first. And after that, you're going to look for daily method of operation. Daily method of operation. And then the third one, I believe, is called creating your possibility list. I believe that's what that's called. It is creating your possibility list. Those three things you're looking for, and you want to watch those as soon as you can. The last one was about 50 minutes. It was longer than the other ones. The other ones are about 30 minutes, just so you guys know. Okay? That's all training for free, which is pretty awesome. You guys can do the training, you don't have to pay anything. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. But that will help you. This is a great training site. So let's talk a little bit about 45-year plan hours versus 2 to 3 year plan hours. 45-year plan hours in Market America is what we all do ourselves. So Seth is doing his basic 5-weekly checklist. When he's doing this, this is considered 45-year plan hours for him. Do you guys know what the 45-year plan is?
Yes.
Everybody know that? If you don't, you're a guest, I'll explain it. So when somebody is 20 years old and they go to work around the age of 20 to 25, they're supposed to retire around the age of 60 to 65. That means they work for about 40 to 45 years of their life. Does that make sense? At that point, they're supposed to be able to retire. Okay? Not all Americans are retired at that point. Okay? So that's called the 45-year plan. Market America offers a 2 to 3 year plan in order to produce the income of $187,000 a year in 2 to 3 years. And so those are what we call 2 to 3 year plan hours. So in Market America, what Seth is doing himself is 45-year plan hours. It's basically going to pay him like what a job would pay. Does that make sense? What he's doing himself. But what his organization does through his example is where the 2 to 3 year plan hours come in, and that's where residual and the 6 figures come from. Okay, so let's talk about how that works. So we are here today. How many hours is this training? 4. Thank you. Yep. I'm the trainer. I should probably know that. 4. Okay, Daniel, do you know how many people here today are in your organization or evaluating it? Okay, can you count them real fast? Sure. Raise your hand if you're within Daniel's organization. Or evaluating the business within Daniel's organization.
Yeah. 7.
Okay, 7. Does that include yourself? 8. Okay, 8 including yourself. This training is 4 hours. Okay, so what is 8 times 4? 32. Daniel is getting 32 hours of production done. And how many hours is he doing himself? 4. You guys see that?
Yeah.
If he didn't have 8 people here today, they would miss this training, which means that he would have to then go and try to teach them everything that I've taught, that I would be teaching right now, individually, which would take a lot more time. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So every time that there's something going on, like a meeting today, this is used to create residual income. It's used to work smarter rather than harder. Would you guys agree that that's much smarter for Daniel to do to have him here today than him trying to teach them himself?
Right.
And so every time that you're at an event, you have to be thinking, how many 2 to 3 year plan hours do I have going on? And I'm doing the 45-year plan hours. So he's still doing 4 45-year plan hours. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But he's producing 32 hours of production. You see the power of that?
Yep.
That's where you can see people like myself that have been able to produce millions of dollars with Market America, and it really had nothing to do with what we were doing. It had to do with what an organization is doing. Does that make sense to everyone? So that's a 45-year plan hour versus a 2 to 3 year plan hour. Treating the business like a business and not a hobby is really a critical thing. So listening to an audio 1 time a day is very important. Just so you know, some of these audios with Market America could be like 5 hours. So just so you know, we're not saying to listen to a whole 5-hour audio. What we're saying is that you want to listen about 20 to 30 minutes per day to an audio. Okay, a medical doctor, they retire, and most of them would earn a 6-figure, or they graduate from college, and then they're going to earn a 6-figure income. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
But in order to produce that 6-figure income, what did they first have to do? They had to educate themselves. They had to go to college. Sometimes people come into Market America and they think it's a lottery. They think it's like a lottery ticket. Oh, I just got in the great spot. I'm going to get my money that way. It is not a lottery ticket. It's still a business and you still have to pay a price. But the beautiful thing about the price in Market America is that you actually are making money as you're getting educated. So if you're a doctor and you're in medical school, you make no money while you're in medical school for your being a medical doctor until you graduate, right? In Market America, you are making money as you're going. So before you even become what we would consider a professional Market America and franchise owner, you are earning income, but you still have to educate yourself. That's part of the deal. You have to. In order for you to lead an organization, in order for you to be able to manage an organization, you have to know what you're doing. And how many people in here said that they would like a professional income in Market America? Raise your hand. So if you want a professional income, what do you have to do? Become a professional. And that comes with listening to the audios and learning the things that you need to do. So listen to one audio per day. We have this unfranchised media app. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
On your phone. Now, just so you guys know, David is actually working with the company to make it better. Just so you know on that. So it is getting better all the time. So it'll continue getting better. But on this audio, it's still free. Where when David and I started, so you're going to hear today, this is like, you know, when you listen to some older person, they're talking about when I went to school, I went uphill in snow to my knees both ways. You know, that's kind of what it is for me today, you know. When I got started, but literally, when I got started, audios were $5 a piece. When I got started, $5 a piece for an audio. And do you know that we sit down at the end of the year, we were annualized at a 6-figure income, but we spent more on audios and training than we did on all product and all of that combined.
Wow.
Because we understood, and we were making a 6-figure income, but we understood the power of knowledge, knowing that that knowledge could never be taken away from us, and that's what would create an organization of people. Okay? So these are free for you guys, so no complaints. Not for how bad it's working, either no complaints. But it is getting done. So on this, what you want to do is where it says rep ID number, that could actually be your email address, just so you guys know whatever's registered with Market America. And the password is whatever your password is for your back office. Does that make sense to everyone? But listening to one audio a day, and the way that you do that, for me, because when you get in your car, you're busy. I guess here you can't be on the phone, right? Texas, people are talking on their phone, so they you know, aren't listening to audios. I know some of you might be, but we're not going to talk about that. But here, you can actually get into your car then and listen to an audio. But the way that I do it, I don't leave anything to chance. While I'm getting ready in the morning, I listen to an audio every single morning. Just so you know, still today, 20 years later, still today, I'm listening to an audio. In fact, this morning I was listening to Listen Clever. So listening to an audio, that is part of your 20 to 30 minutes of listening. So I just do that in the morning, and I get it done. Because I'm going to get ready either way, right? Right. Hopefully all of you guys shower and get ready and all that. I just run it while I'm doing all of that, so that I make sure I get it in that day. The second thing is to read 20 to 30 minutes a day. This is all part of attitude and knowledge. Colton, do you have a book list when people get started?
Definitely.
Okay, how many of you guys have actually seen the recommended book list? Very good. If you have not seen the recommended book list, you need to find Colton and make sure that you guys get that recommended book list. These are the books you're supposed to be reading in your very first 12 months in this business. Again, attitude and knowledge. It's getting you educated on the things that you need in order to be successful. You guys know Dakota James?
Yeah.
This is his library. So Dakota sent it to us because he was really excited about it, but he was reading books to help him become successful, and Dakota is doing an unbelievable job. So it gives you an idea there. So reading 20 to 30 minutes a day. Positive out loud verbal projections. Declaring where you are going. This is the last, I mean, I don't have to describe this to you guys. You guys are going around Steve Backlund and all that. You already know the power of declarations, right?
Right.
But when I go other places in the country, I got to spend a lot of time on this because people have never heard of it. They're like, what? Why would I do that? You know? But partnering with God on what you want in your life and start declaring it. Declaring your destiny is very important. And so it's overcoming things. So there might be things in your life, you have to be really careful. So let's say that, you know, I started this business and I'm like, oh, I'm not very good at retailing. What happens when I say that? Every time I say that, I'm just establishing I'm not very good at retailing. Yeah. Right. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard this really powerful audio that I have to tell you guys about. It's really cool. Okay, so when Colton was little, our daughter Avery, our little redhead, she was very ornery. She still is today, just she's full of life, you know. And she always wanted Colton's attention. There were 3 years difference. Always wanted his attention. So, you know, Colton would be there studying, playing there his Game Boy or whatever. And David and I were home full time, so we were always there. He'd be playing his Game Boy, and Avery would come along, and she'd be like, Colty, I peach you. And she'd come along literally then with her little fingers and like get him right there. You know, and like squeeze, like right there with her little tiny fingers. I peach you. You know, she just wanted his attention. And you know, Colton would be like, sis, not me, you know. He knocked her down, and not to hurt her in any way, but she would like, oh my gosh, she was so dramatic. She'd be like, you know, I'd come in the room and she'd be on the floor. This happened over and over again. So I'd get after her, but then I'd look at Colton and be like, Colton, stop pushing your sister. Stop it, just stop pushing your sister. You know, and so this would happen over and over again. So David and I were one time listening to an audio, and we heard this guy talking about the power of your words. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I've got to stop talking the way I'm talking to Colton and Avery. I've got to change that. So when this happened, I guarantee you it happened several times a day. So I can remember the first time it happened. I walked in the room, she was crying, and Colton obviously had pushed her, and I looked at him and like, Colton, did you push your sister? That's not like you. You never push your sister. And he literally looked at me like, what? and so I kept doing that every time this would happen. That's not like you. You never push your sister. You always take care of your sister. You are an awesome brother. And finally, it took a while, because I've been programming for a while. It took a while. But I heard Avery crying, and I was coming around the corner. I hadn't made it around the corner yet. He didn't see me. But I came around the corner, she was crying, and she was on the floor. Colton was standing over her like this. He looked at her and he goes, did I push you? That's not like me. I never push you.
I've been brainwashed.
And truly, after that, we never had problems again. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, really, it's that emotion to where he became her protector. Like, he takes care of her. Like, you know, he saw a picture on Facebook of a guy and Avery together, and he got a hold of him. What's up with this guy? What's going on here? He's like her protector. He does like, what's going on here? You know, so like awesome stuff. And why is that in the room? This works on your husbands too, just so you know. David's not here, so I can share this. It's pretty cool. So it was working so well with Colton that I decided I'm going to try this on David. And so one of the problems that we would have with David is when he would get ready for bed, he would just drop all of his clothes on the floor and then get in bed. You know, so he like have things that were dry cleaned and all that. He wouldn't pick them up. He would just lay on the floor. So I'd be in the bathroom washing my face, come in the room, they'd be on the floor. I'm like, I'd always go, David, why do you always leave your clothes on the floor? Your clothes are always on the floor. And then I'd pick them up and I'd hang them up. So this works so great with Colton. I came in the room one night after this had worked, and I looked at his clothes and I'm like, David, are these your clothes? That's not like you. You never leave your clothes on the floor. He gets out of bed. Ha ha ha, you can't use that on me. I already know what you're doing. He picks up his clothes. You know, today he's way better than I am, truly. I mean, I never had but it's like truly cool. But it really is amazing how much the words that we speak and declare make up our life. As you guys know, they declare, that's what creates the world. It's so true. And so, really being aware of the words that you speak, whether they're negative or whether they're positive, being aware of that, you know. And so, here's some of the things for Market America that you may declare. So it might be everyone I talk to gets excited about this business. Maybe for you it's a fear that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't talk, nobody wants to join me. You know, it might be that kind of thing. So you got to change that. If you continue to say, nobody wants to join me, what's going to happen? Nobody wants to join you. But if you start saying, everyone I talk to gets excited about this business, it's creating a new world around you. I always do what it takes to get the job done. I am designed for greatness. I was made for this business. So those are just a couple of examples. Get out of my way. That's another one. Get out of my way. I'm on my way to a 6-figure income. I don't know how many times I've said that thing. I set the pace for others to follow.
Yes.
It's going to work because I'm going to make it work. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. There's not a person in here that can be held down by another person.
That's good.
I don't care who your sponsor is in the company, they can't make you and they cannot break you.
Come on.
I don't care if JR doesn't like David and I, he cannot make us and he cannot break us.
Come on.
There's nothing that can stop us. We're the only ones that can stop us in this business. This is so powerful. And here's the last one. I eat problems for breakfast. In fact, I changed it to I eat problems for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because this is why. The person that solves the most problems will always make the most money.
Yep.
You look at anything in life, you look at people that are in jobs of positions. If somebody's in management, they're always going to handle more problems than the people below them. Do you guys agree? Therefore, they're supposed to make more money because they're handling more problems. So if somebody's calling me with their problems, I give them a choice. Do you want me to make more money or do you want to make more money?
That's good.
You know, I'm giving them the opportunity. If you have me solve this problem, I'm going to increase my income, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to. But if you can solve this problem, you're going to increase your income. Okay? So I always say, I eat problems for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Give me your problems. Right? Because I'm going to increase my income.
That's awesome.
Here is extremely important thing. How many people in here again wanted to earn a six-figure income? Raise your hand. If you want to earn six figures in Market America, you have to know how to show the plan. It seems so simple, but I wonder sometimes how many people in the company actually know how to show the plan. To where you know it inside and out. You know all the nuances. You know how this works. What happens if this doesn't happen? What happens to the volume on Friday night? I mean, all of these different things, you have to know the marketing plan if you want to create a six-figure income. And that's part of attitude and knowledge. So David and I, when we started to learn the marketing plan, we would do it with each other. I would show him the plan and he would ask me questions. And then he would show me the plan and I would ask him questions. I would use those opportunities to beat it up. Like, that was like a pyramid. What is this? You know? But by asking questions, what that did, it was really fun actually. What that did is it really like, you know, I don't know what happens if that happens. Let's call David and Deanna. Maybe they know. You know, but it really gets you into the plan and learning the inside and out of the plan. So let's go through the plan. Here's my little eraser. Let's go through the plan real fast. Yay! I will tell you this, the more you learn about the plan, the more you're going to love Market America. Because I'll tell you this, there's very few things in life that are perfect, but the plan is perfect.
Yes.
People are not perfect, so that makes our company not perfect, but the plan itself is perfect.
Yes.
So let's talk about how the marketing plan works. Okay, what is the first step in Market America? Not people that have been around for a while, but people that maybe have not been around for a while. Okay, let me say this. Not David and Deanna, not Colton, not Strombax, just people that are showing the plan regularly. So, not Daniel. So, what's the first step? Apply. Or not either, because I know you're showing it all the time. Apply, okay?
Good work.
With apply, there's two ways you can apply. What's the first way?
Sales rep.
Sales representative, okay? So no money whatsoever, and you're called a sales representative. What does a sales representative get? The retail profit. So they can purchase the product at retail cost and sell it and make the retail profit. What's the problem with a sales representative?
No leverage.
No leverage, exactly. Okay? What's the other application, the second one? Unfranchised owner. Did you guys know that you were UFOs?
Yeah.
Unfranchised owner. And what does that cost?
$129.
$129.
95.
$95. And what do you get for the $129.95? A portal. Yep, your shop.com. How many do you guys even know? 8. Is it 11? 11. I don't even know. 11. That's awesome. So 11 different sites that you can use. So they would be things like for Mexico, the global.shop.com, you got your shop.com, you got one for motives, you got one for TLS, you got one for isotonics, yeah, web center, Market America website. All of that is included in your $129.95. What else?
Manuals.
Manual.
Getting
Very
started
good.
guide.
Getting started guide. CDs.
Access to the audio.
3 business development centers. Audios. That's a lot, included at $129.95. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first step. The second step
Create.
is what?
Create.
Create. What do we have there? Create what?
Business volume and internet business volume.
Good job. Business volume and internet business volume. Okay, what's the difference between business volume and internet business volume?
Business volume. Yeah. Market
Okay.
America would be
So Market American products versus Partners Pro products. Okay, what is BV? I don't understand that.
BV is a point system that's assigned to the Market America exclusive products.
Very good. Okay, and what's the internet business volume?
It's the points that we attach to the products that are not Market America, so any of the partner stores.
Perfect. Man, you guys are rocking it. That is very good. So we're going to create volume by doing what? How do you create volume?
Auto ship.
Auto ship, that's one way. So transferring your buying habits to buying from yourself. Any other ways?
Retailing.
Retailing.
Retail.
How are some different ways of retailing? Solving problems, yeah. Wellness 101s. What else? Listening.
Home shopping list.
Home shopping list. Okay. How about social media?
Yeah.
Social media. Yeah. Okay. Third step, what's it? Qualify. What do you get when you qualify?
Product.
Product, how much? How much business volume when you qualify?
300.
300. To actually, just so you guys know, qualified actually means you get 200 business volume. When you have the Fast Start Kit, you have 200 here and 50 here and 50 here, but it qualifies your first unfranchise. What happens when you qualify other than getting your business volume?
Your bank's open.
Yeah, what was over here?
I said your bank's open.
Banks, you said banks, yep. So you get banks, which banks?
Your left, on your right.
BB
BB
and IBB, very good. Excellent. Okay. If you're not qualified, do you have banks?
No.
And what do these banks do? What are they good for?
They accrue your volume.
Accrue your volume,
They measure your volume, so you know you get commissions.
measure your volume so you know when you're getting commissions. That's good. What happens at the end of the month?
It rolls over.
Rolls over. Yep. It's calculating weekly. Yep. Rolls over. So what about in a year?
It's still there.
Still there? Yeah. Okay, that's good. Is that different than a lot of multi-level marketing companies?
Yes.
What happens at the end of the month at a multi-level marketing company?
Flush.
It goes back to zero. Okay? Red flush, exactly every month. How about commission-based jobs? How about real estate, insurance, traditional business sales? What happens at the end of the month there? Start over on the cycle, right? Yeah. So here, we're really different than multi-level marketing and commission-based jobs. Does that make sense to everyone?
Totally.
Awesome. It's going to simply accumulate until you get paid. So do these have savings accounts?
Yes.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet? Why?
They're not
Qualified.
They're not qualified. Yeah. How do I get them to have savings accounts?
You gotta take 5,000, 5,000.
Good question. Good thinking. That's not quite right, but good thinking. Keep them coming. Activate. Good thinking, but nope.
You're saying, how do you get it to qualify?
How do you get this one and that one to qualify?
You have to place someone under the other leg of it and get 200 BV in it, and everybody's
You said one of them right. You said you actually have to finish qualifying it with a total of 200 business volume, so it'd be an extra 150. Once that happens, then you get savings accounts on these as well. That makes sense? Because qualify gets you savings accounts. Qualify means 200 business volume. Everybody understanding that so far? Now, most of the time, you're not worried about these right now because you're not getting paid on those. We're worried about your first one. But at some point, before you can earn commissions, these have to be qualified. Okay? So the fourth one is what? Oh, yeah.
Real quick, can you explain what that used to look like? And I know that's kind of it, like the master UFO, then you come in with one business development center or three, like just real, like, I think that's a really cool thing, if you can.
Yeah, I'll cover that next in just a second. Good idea, though. Fourth one, what's that?
Teach.
Teach? Nope, that's coming up next.
Activate.
Activate. Okay, what does activating do? What do you do with that step?
It's regular.
Okay, so you're going to do, and what you're going to earn commissions. How do you earn commissions?
By bringing two other people, partnering with two other people.
Okay, so
One on
you're
the left, one on the right.
good. That's very good. So let's say this is Indy. Indy's I think our newest unfranchised owner in the room today. Everybody give her a hand. So Indy, name two people that you know that you would like to partner with.
My sister, Dorian,
Okay.
and my mother.
So sister and mom. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, give me one more name. I'm going to put mom over here with sister.
Okay. Juliet.
Julia?
Yeah.
Okay. So now Indy is activated because she has a personally sponsored distributor on her left and a personally sponsored distributor on her right. At that point, she has created leverage, which is very important for Market America because that's where residual income comes from. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, when sister and mom and Julia come in, what are they going to do? Same steps, right? They're applying. They're going to create business volume. They're going to qualify the 200 business volume. Julia's going to do the same. And then they're going to activate. So watch this. Indy sponsored her sister and her mom in this scenario right here. So sister is going to have to sponsor a person. Who's somebody that you know?
My friend Susan.
Susan. Okay. And so everything that Susan does, their mom benefits from, you benefit from, flows up through your person to Indy, all the way up. Does that make sense? But when mom goes to sponsor her very first person, she's going to have to sponsor him under Susan. Do you guys see that? And everything that that person does flows up through Susan. Can you name another person?
My friend Mars.
Mars? Okay, so Mars is going to flow up from this side, so she's going to walk the same steps and activate. Julia's going to do the exact same thing. You guys understanding that? 100% of that volume flows up into each savings account on into Indy's. Yes?
In order for you to activate when you place two under you, do they have to have two under them for you to be activated?
Nope.
No, they just have to be placed. Do they have to have 200 BV?
They have to have 200 business volume. Yep, they have to have qualified in order for you to count them as activation. Yep, good question. Okay, everybody understand that so far?
Yeah.
And then what's the last step?
Teach.
Teach and ABC pattern, that's right, which we're going to cover today. So people will naturally lead to people. That's just what happens. Okay, so as you walk through this, volume is accumulating. So as volume accumulates, what are my thresholds I'm looking for? Okay,
1,200.
1,200 and 1,200. And what happens?
$300.
I get a $300 check. Now, does that happen for BV and IBV?
Yeah.
Okay, but they're on their own cycle. Everybody understands that, right? So once the IBV gets there, what do I get? $300 check. Now what am I looking for? 2,400 and 2,400. Once I get there, what happens? $300 check on both, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Does that start over at 0 then? Once it gets to 1,200, it goes to 0, and now I got to get to 2,400 to get a $300 check? No? What happens? What's happening? It's accumulating. Good, it's stacking on top of it. It's already there, so now it just looks for an additional 1,200. So basically, we're getting a $300 commission check for 1,200 business volume on each side, right? Now what's it looking for?
34.
What is it? 36? So 36 and 36, do they go from 0 then?
Nope.
No? What happened? It accrues 1,200. Okay, and what happens then? How much commission did I get for that one? 300 on both, right?
Yeah.
Now what I'm looking for?
5,000.
5,000. How much business volume difference is that?
14.
What's the deal with that? Why 1,400? $600. So I make $600 for eaching 5,000 and 5,000. So how much have I earned? How much? 1,500 on business volume and 1,500 on internet business volume. Now what if my business volume is much faster and it gets there and this one's only at 12 and 12? Does it matter?
No, it's just wait.
It's just waits, okay, until you get paid. Now if you're new, it takes IBV longer to accumulate when you very first start, but as your organization grows, it starts to catch up. And about the second or third year, it's starting to pay you the same way. Does that make sense? It takes a little longer, but once it does the exact same thing, okay? So that's why it's very important to establish what we're going to talk about today on internet business volume as well, okay? So what happens when it gets to 5,000 and 5,000?
Green flush.
What?
Starts over.
It goes back to zero? Why?
You get paid more.
Yeah, restart the pay cycle.
Well, what happens to my people?
They keep rolling.
Are they taken away from me?
No.
Are you sure? Yeah? Okay, so it goes back to zero. So this all goes back to zero. And then what?
Pay cycle.
Start accumulating. It's faster? Why do you think it's faster?
Because you already have an organization built.
Because you have customers, you have an organization of people. That's good. So sisters using product, selling product. So's Mom, and so's Susan, and so's Mars, and so's Julia. They're all using product and selling the product. Find a couple of people. And remember the hours of production that are happening outside of your time. So it's going to be faster. And what about the next time when it goes to 5,000, 5,000?
Faster.
Even faster? Even faster until what?
Every week.
Look at that. I saw that smile on your face today. Every week. That means you should be really excited about this. Have you seen this before? Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to get, who brought you here today? Okay, you've got to get together with them and have them show you this right here. Okay, because you're probably sitting here thinking today, what are they talking about? But when you see this, you're going to be blown away. If you're looking for something. If you're not, you just say, hey, that's a good little marketing plan. But if you're looking for something, it's really pretty cool. Okay, so 0 to 5,000 every single week to make how much?
3,000
$3,000 a week
per business.
per business development center. Okay, but I can make more, right?
Yes, you can.
How can I make more?
If two people in either organization hit 5,000, 5,000.
Good job. So let's say, could you guys hear? On Friday at midnight, when they see that Indy has 5,000 and 5,000 on business volume, congratulations, Indy. Woo! There you go. They're going to search infinitely down her left side and infinitely down her right side for anybody else that also has 5,000 and 5,000. And they see that sister has 5,000 and 5,000, and this person here, which she's never met before, they have 5,000 and 5,000. Right there. So they come and they say all three of these people had 5,000 and 5,000 in the very same week. If that happens, what happens to Indy?
Bonus check.
She gets a bonus. How much is it?
$600.
$600. No more volume, just a $600 bonus. Dude, how much could she make?
3,600 per week.
$3,600 per week. That's all she could make?
No.
That's it?
For that meeting.
But wait, there's more.
$187,000 a year right here is the most that Indy could make on one unfranchise. She wants to increase her income. She has to.
Simply apply to be qualified.
She actually doesn't even have to apply. Isn't that awesome?
Okay.
Qualify.
Just has to qualify.
She has to finish qualifying whatever center she's working on. Okay, and then she starts building that one, right? Working down that one. She's going to activate it, but it's already, sister already counted on this side, so she just needs one person over here.
That's crazy.
I know, isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Starts working with these people, and it starts to increase. And this one right here can make how much? Another 187,000. She wants to increase it beyond that. What happens? Open the other side. Does the exact same thing. This one right here can make how much?
187,000.
But Indy's like, man, I got too big of goals. I've heard some of her goals. She's got some big goals. And so she needs more than that, you know? And so what does she do then? Open another one. Where?
At the bottom.
At the bottom? Why not over here?
To bless everybody out.
Ah, to bless everyone. So Indy starts with another one right here. This is her 004. She's going to do what? Qualify. Do what? Activate it.
Teach.
And teach. Blow it up. But everything she does here, what happens? Flows to Susan, flows to mom, flows to sister, flows to her second unfranchise, flows up to her first unfranchise. You guys seeing that? Is that amazing? How much could this make?
187,000.
Why did JR do this? Why did he say, because I've never seen anything before, multi-level marketing doesn't work that way. Commission-based jobs don't work that way. Corporations don't work that way. Why did he do that? Gives incentive to help the rest of the team.
Brings stability.
Brings stability.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. What else? Spreads the wealth. Exactly right. What else?
Incentivize the professionals.
Incentivize the professionals, the people at the bottom, incite them.
It doesn't put a cap on your income, it makes you pay what you're worth.
Pay what you're worth. Okay? Just so you guys know, what JR found out is when you get down to 5,000 every single week in your organization down here, the volume that's coming up, you no longer know the people at the bottom that are producing that volume. But somebody else does because there's people between you that are working with those people. Does that make sense? And there's only a certain amount of money that you can pay out, or you run out of money. And so JR said, I'm only going to pay you to the level of the people that you are working with. Although it searches to infinity, if it has to search 1,000 people down to come up with 5,000 or one, it doesn't matter. It'll search however far it has to go to find that. But once it does that, he found out once these people are down here, the people that are working with them are the ones that deserve the payment for their work. But if you want to increase your income, you just come down here underneath those people, you get to know them, you start working with them, and you'll increase your income.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Wow.
But you have to, he's not going to pay you for something that you are not a part of. You have to be a part of helping to manage that growth because you're paid on teaching, helping, and managing. Another thing he did here is, I think I have a slide for it, but I'm just going to go to it. What's that look like?
Pyramid.
A pyramid. Have you ever had somebody look at that and be like, it looks like a pyramid? Or is this one of those pyramid things? You guys ever heard people say that? If you haven't, I guarantee it'll come. It's happened in the last 20 years. It'll happen. Somebody will say it. Okay, well, what is a pyramid? I always, when people say that looks like a pyramid or is this a pyramid, I always ask them, well, what is a pyramid? When you guys think of pyramid, what do you think of other than the shape? Multi-level marketing. Why? What's multi-level marketing do to create a pyramid type situation?
One person's making benefit from everyone else's work.
Okay, so one person is basically sitting on top what everybody else is working to make them rich. Would you guys agree that that's a good description? Also, pyramids a lot of times are thought of as illegal. Okay, so Market America has been around since 1992. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we received the Torch Award. So we're not illegal. You know, that's very important to know. But also, pyramid, the person at the top makes all the money while everybody else works to make them rich. How much can Indy make on top?
$187,000.
$187,000 a year. That's the most she can make on top. If she wants to make more, what does she have to do?
Go to the bottom.
Go on the bottom. Help the person at the bottom make more money before she will ever make more money.
Good.
Is that amazing?
Yeah.
Because you look at most things in life. I gave the example the other night because I just think it's kind of eye-opening. But you look at like Tyson's Chicken. I used that the other night. Tyson's Chicken. You know, you've got the president of the company. You have vice presidents. You have middlemen, and you got the chicken pluggers. You know, the chicken pluggers will never make more than the middlemen. Middlemen will never make more than the vice presidents, and the vice presidents will never make more than the president. It is definitely a pyramid type situation, right? Can you imagine if Tyson's Chicken told the CEO, you know, we're going to cap your income all you can make is this, and if you want to increase your income, you have to start at the bottom under the chicken pluggers. I mean, that would never happen, right?
He could do it.
Yeah. But in Market America, that's actually what happens. You take the person with the most experience making the most money, you put them at the bottom under the person with the least amount of experience, and they increase that person's income based on what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it builds this incredible teamwork and synergy that's amazing. Okay? Isn't that so fun?
I love that.
I know, it's like so cool. I mean, but the more you find out about the plan, truly the better the plan is.
Yeah, that's true.
Colton wanted me to show you something really fun. Okay, again, remember the walking up the snow both ways?
Yeah.
You know, up to your knees. Okay, uphill. Okay, I'm going to just show you uphill for us. I just want to show you something kind of cool. When we first started, I want everybody to say thank you, JR, before I get through. He makes the company better all the time. Okay, when we first started as unfranchised owners, this is David and Stacy, at the point of application, you had to decide if you wanted to be a single unfranchised owner or a master unfranchised owner with starting with 3 unfranchises. So from the beginning, you had to make that decision when you had no information whatsoever, basically. You really didn't know anything. But the leverage of a master or 3 centers is way beyond what you would get with 1 center. So let's talk about how this actually happened. So somebody comes in with 1 center. We came in with 3. Thank you, God, that we did. But because it's so much better. But it was only because Kelly told us that we had to. That's the truth. So, but let me just say that we came in with 1. Okay, so we sponsored Colton, and we sponsored Peter. And it started growing, it started working, volumes flowing up. This one here, increased income. And this one here is making $187,000 per year. So we wanted to increase our income. This was our first unfranchise. Well, what we would have to do is we'd have to start our second unfranchise down here. This is David and Stacy, number 2. And we sponsor Shara, and we sponsor Natasha. So we build this one here, we start working with this, all volume flows up. This one here makes $187,000 per year. We wanted to increase our income. So then we sponsored Molly, or this is us, David and Stacy, 3. So we sponsored Molly, and we sponsored Emily. And this one here, savings accounts fill up, $187,000 per year. So this is $561,000 per year that I could make on 3 unfranchises. Okay, that's the first example. Let me show you the power of coming in as a master unfranchise owner, which, thank you, JR. Every person in this room is automatically a master unfranchise owner, just so you guys know. Congratulate yourself for being a master unfranchise owner. So watch this. So let's use the same example. David and Stacy, 001. Instead of just coming in with 1 center, you come in with 3 centers, 002, 003. David and Stacy, David and Stacy. So watch this. When we sponsor Colton counts for activation for our 2 and our 1.
That's amazing.
And so we start building with Colton. All growth of what Colton is doing flows through half of our 2 and half of our 1.
Amazing.
And over here, we bring in Peter, and we start working with Peter. And you guys see, we're putting in 10 hours a week, right?
Yep.
So 5 hours is naturally going to go down this leg, 5 hours down this leg, because you want to keep your legs even. Everybody understands that, right? So building, Peter counts for activation for our 3 on that side, as well as our 1. So as volume is flowing up through Peter, it flows through half of our 3 into our 1. You guys understand that so far? So in this scenario, if I wanted to increase my income, what did I have to do? Start at the bottom and do what? Activate with 2 more people that make sense? Where here, I come here, I activate with, who do I have here? Shara. And this side's already built, so I don't have to put 5 hours down this leg anymore. So I'm going to put 10 hours down this leg versus dividing my time. You see the power of this? Volume all flows up. This one here, $187,000 per year, $187,000 per year. And then I'm like, oh, I want to increase my income just like Indy wanted to. So I bring in Molly. And I start working with them, 10 hours down that leg. You can see much faster, right? All volume flows them through here. This one's making $187,000 per year. So the exact same amount of money, $561,000 per year. So let's look at this. Over here, in order to create $561,000 a year, I had to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sales organizations to make $561,000 a year. Over here, I had to build 1, 2, 3, 4 sales organizations to make $561,000 a year.
So awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
Awesome.
Give JR a hand. Yes, Sharon.
We were trying to show the business plan to a business lady yesterday, and she was asking, like, if you place like a new UFO here, are you ever able to move them later on, like to start to once it's placed?
No, once it's placed, they're placed. Now, let's say that somebody decides that the timing's not right, and they decide not to become an unfranchised owner. They could go down to the bottom of a leg, but they couldn't move to another part of the organization. They would just move this to their own organization. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Do you guys see the power of this?
Yeah.
It is so cool.
Super cool.
It's so exciting. Okay, so our plan is beautiful, it's perfect, and everything about it is in there for a reason. What happens if I have product sales that I've made and I need to place an order? What do I do with that order? I can place it at the bottom of my organization, anyone I've personally sponsored, give credit away to that person, and then it flows back up to me. Isn't that so cool?
Super cool.
It's so cool. So I've already covered all that stuff. That's how good we are. It's not a pyramid. You guys already know that. All right. This is so important, but I'm going to skip it. All right. So we're going to go to goals. I think that David and I are going to come back in January, so you'll have to come back to the three-legged stool in January. Okay. So let's look at goals and goal statements. The second part of the basic 5s. All right, Colton, there should be some note cards. When you are building your business, you have to have a goal, but there's a strategy to creating the goal with Market America. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, but there's a way to write it to make sure that you're actually reading it twice a day. How many people in here actually have a goal statement and you're reading it 2 times per day? Raise your hand. Okay, so if you don't have a goal statement, you're not reading it 2 times a day, most of the time it's just because you don't know what to write. Right? You're like, oh, I don't even know where to start. So creating this is very important. And again, it's part of your weekly checklist. How many people were up for that challenge that I'll pay you $1,000 at the end of the year if you don't make $100,000 a year? Okay, did you guys notice on here, you're going to have to read your goal statement 2 times a day. Okay, so this is very important. Everybody got a note card? What I do just to make sure that this actually happens, that I'm actually reading my goal statement, is I put it on my mirror in the bathroom. How many people in here brush your teeth twice a day? 3. Okay, so when I brush my teeth in the morning, I'm reading my goal statement. When I'm brushing my teeth at night, I'm reading my goal statement. I leave nothing to chance. Does that make sense? If it's somewhere else, it's in my purse, you know, I might lose it. If it's on my mirror, I know exactly where it is, and I'm reading my goal statement. Okay? This is my goal, which is really important. When writing a goal, you need it set as if this is the day it's actually happening. So, for example, here, somebody give me a goal that they have. Give me a goal.
$187,000 annualized.
Okay, annualized $187,000 a year. When do you want that?
In 2 years.
Okay, what day?
July 23rd, 2018.
Okay. When setting the date, you need to make sure, first of all, in Market America, it is on a Friday. That's very important because you get paid on Fridays, just so you know. You want to make sure everything is just as realistic as possible. So let's say that Friday is that day of the week. So you say that, so on Michaela's goal statement, she would say, it's July 23rd, 2018, and I am making $187,000 a year. So she's actually placing it as if today is the day. Does that make sense? It is July 23rd, 2018, and I am making $187,000 a year. When creating a goal, you have to create a goal that emotionally moves you and that you feel something when you're talking about it. So, Michaela, what do you want to do with that $187,000 a year? Why do you want to make $187,000 a year?
I would love to buy a house.
Okay, why do you want to buy a house?
Because I would want to have a house where I can have a family and have people come and visit and be able to entertain and have friends over.
Okay, so I'm making $187,000 a year. I am so excited about purchasing a house and having a home that we're able to have kids and be able to entertain friends. This is the most incredible dream that's come true. Does that make sense? So you have to have an emotion attached to whatever that goal is. Does that make sense?
Yep.
With an outcome of why. So as Michaela is reading this, if her goal is not motivating her, if she's reading her goal statement and she's bored, she doesn't have the right goal. Does that make sense? She needs a goal that emotionally moves her, that when she reads it, she's really excited. So when you're very first starting, I always encourage you to start with something small. You want something that you're going to be able to achieve within the next 90 days or 6 months when you're very first starting. Okay? So as you're writing your goal statement, we're actually going to take a little bit of time right now, and I'm going to help you walk through that. So I don't know if you have a calendar or what, but you need to pull out a phone that has a calendar, and you need to look for a Friday. Make sure it's a Friday. And you need to set a goal. And it has to have money attached to it. It can't be, I want to obtain financial freedom. Well, financial freedom is a moving target. Would you guys agree? There's nothing to be able to say this is specifically what I need or what I want. Okay? So maybe you're brand new in Market America and you want your very first commission check in your first 3 months. Man, that is awesome. So that might be the first thing. You know, it is whatever date. And I have earned my very first $3 commission check in Market America, and I am on my way to a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
Because creating your first 2 people and getting your first $3 check is the hardest step you'll do in Market America.
So true.
That is really the truth. Because think about it. Natasha goes from knowing nothing to building 2 sales organizations that have produced 1,200 business 500 left and 1,200 business 500 right. If she creates 1,200 one time, can she do it a second time?
Yeah.
Much easier, right?
Yeah.
How about the third time?
Yep.
So it gets easier and easier and easier. So the $3 check is the hardest. So we're going to take the next, is there any questions on creating a goal statement? Okay, so we're going to take the next few minutes and we're going to write something on your note card. You need to have a date for the next, say 90 days to 6 months, a date, what you're wanting to achieve with a dollar amount attached to it, and how you feel. Does that make sense? So let's take 5 minutes to make that happen. See, is this realistic? Is this something that I'm going to be able to do? Do I need to tweak this? Do I need to change the date? What you're going to find is, when you're doing something that's 90 days out, about 60 days out, you're going to know whether you're close to hitting that goal, and you can tweak it and send it out another 10 days, another 30 days. Does that make sense? Yeah. Then you're measuring, monitoring, adjusting, and controlling your goal to know how realistic that is for where you are. Okay? But your activity is based on what your goal is. I've worked with several people in this room over the last few days, and when they ask me a question, every time that they ask me a question about their business or anybody that they're working with, the first question I ask them is, what is their goal? This is for, Jordan, you were asking me a question the other night at the UBP. This is for you right now, okay? It should be for everyone, but this is for your question that you asked. Okay, all activity in Market America, every person that I'm working with, it's all about their goal. So that when I'm working with Caleb, it's about Caleb's goal, not my goal. So every conversation that I have with Caleb is about Caleb's goal. So if Caleb's not showing up at meetings, I'm going to go back to his goal. I'm going to say, hey Caleb, your goal was that you wanted to make a $300 commission check, in the next, 1 month. Okay? In order to do that, that means we need to get some people at the meetings. How can I help you to do that? Is that still your goal? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If he's not showing up, I have to go back to his goal. It's not my goal, it's his goal. And so I just want to help him achieve his goal. And there's activities that he has to do in order for him to achieve that goal. And so everything in Market America is based on Katie's goal. It's based on Caleb's goal. It's based on Austin's goal. It's not based on mine. If I'm hounding Austin to get to a UBP or to a Basic 5, or why aren't you showing up, or why aren't you showing the business plan, if I have no idea what his goal is, it's all about me.
Oh, that's good.
Would you guys agree? It has nothing to do with trying to help him. If my goal is I want to make $187,000 a year, why are you not working? But when it comes about Austin's goal and what he's wanting to achieve, every time I'm talking to him, I'm talking to him about his goal.
That's so good.
But if you don't know his goal, how can you help him? And so it's really, really important that you spend time with the people that you're working with to find out. I do it from the first appointment. Remember what I talked about? I'm sitting down with Matt. I'm finding out what does Matt want out of life. I'm finding out his goal in the very first appointment before he even decides to become an unfranchised owner or not. And so all activity when working with people is based on what they want out of the business. Okay, does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Stacy Tung, which is one of the top earners in the company, she's from Taiwan, absolutely amazing. I mean, literally, she gets people to fly from Taiwan to Greensboro or Taiwan to Miami. She has hundreds and hundreds of people that fly from Taiwan to Miami or Taiwan to Greensboro for major events. And she said when she gets somebody started in the business, when they get their product order in, this is what she does. So if you're a leader here, if you're somebody that's trying to grow an organization, this is what you do with your organization. Because it's completely changed the way that her business is done, and it's unbelievable what it's done in ours. So when somebody signs up and they're going to get their product, she sets a 3-hour appointment to go over to their house. So they're getting the product, it's there, she has a 3-hour appointment. Once Austin gets his product, she's going to come to Austin's home, she's going to go through everything that came in his kit and explain what it is. How to use the product, what you would do with the product, what are all these different brochures, what's this career manual, goes through that. She said that takes, roughly 30 minutes to be able to do that. And then she spends the next 2.5 hours finding out what his goal is.
Wow, that's good.
They're going to sit down and they're going to drill in until, because Austin may not know, most Americans, most people have stopped dreaming. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
They forget. They don't even know. When they were little, they had no problem dreaming.
Right.
But then they got older and it's like, oh, I don't even know, just due to life. And so she spends 2.5 hours drilling in on what his goal is. Once they find that out, and a lot of times it'll lead to tears, it's emotional for them, once they find that out, then there's no question whether Austin's going to be able to do the steps required to make it happen, because it's all about his goal. So of course he's going to come to the United States to come to a meeting if he lives in Taiwan, because that's what it's going to require to help him meet his goal.
Yeah.
It's not even a question, everything's based on that. So I really encourage you to do that, to drill in, to hone in, again, becoming a professional. Not treating this like a lottery ticket, not treating this like, oh, I hope, get rich quick scheme, I hope this works. But knowing if I do the work, remember those who succeed simply did what those who failed didn't do, were not willing to do. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
So how many people in here have a goal statement written down right now, that we've done right now, that if it was going to make you $109,000 a year, would read it twice a day? Okay? I mean, that's pretty no-brainer, right? Okay? So that was the goal statement. I've also created a dream board. I heard Shara or somebody talking about the other day their dream board. But having a dream board and visual is very important. So So David and I put pictures up there of things that we're wanting. We divided it in different categories: relationships, pursuits, lifestyles, possessions. We put those in different categories, and then we put pictures up to match that. And I look at it every single day, and it's amazing how things have come to fruition. For example, I made this before we came out of our sabbatical for Market America. I made it in February, and they didn't ask us to start working with them until July. I had no desire at that point to do anything with Market America, but I made this dream board at that point.
Wow.
And something I love to do is I love to teach. I really love teaching. I just think my parents were teachers, my grandparents were teachers. I really, really, really enjoy teaching. And so I didn't have very many opportunities to teach. When we were missionaries in Mexico, other than working with the kids, but I like to be like in groups like this. Didn't have any opportunities really at BSSM. But what I really had the desire, so you have pictures of David and I right here. And I've been looking at that since February of 2015. And we have more opportunities to speak than we could ever do. But I truly believe it was because it was a desire of my heart. I put it up there. I concentrated on that. The things that you focus on happen. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then more opportunities have come. I can't even do every opportunity that's happened. Yeah. And so it's such a cool thing. So that's our dream board. I highly encourage it. If you have children, I encourage you to do a dream board with your kids, because then they can actually see, why you're leaving. If you have to go to a meeting, they're like, hey, but we're going after these goals. You let them put their own goals up there as well for when you achieve things. It's really fun. You make it a family event. It's a very, very cool thing. I'm not going to go through this. You'll have to come back in January for that one. Okay, so retailing, which is the third thing. Sell one product a week to a new customer and order from your shop.com stores. So your goal is to build 10 customers that order how much per month? $30 a month. So in doing your weekly checklist, you're selling one product a week to a new customer. Did you guys notice that on there? At the end of the year, how many customers do you have? 52 customers. Right? Do you think all those 52 customers are going to order every month? No, but do you think out of the 52 you could probably find 10 that are? You guys see that? There's a reason for every step in this weekly checklist. It's not by, you guys should do this. No, it's there for a reason. That's why, to help you develop a customer base of 10 customers that are doing $30 a month worth of product that they're purchasing. Okay? So that's why that's there. People buy stories. People don't buy product because they understand every ingredient in it, unless you're Lise and you're the one teaching them about it. But most people do not buy it because they're emotional purchases. Would you guys agree? They hear somebody's story and they're like, I want that same thing. And so an emotional thing, you've got to find something in yourself that you can listen to somebody's problem and be able to point them to a solution through somebody else's story or your own. Does that make sense to everyone? So let me give you an example. I got pregnant with Colton, and I took eating for two to the next level. I gained 60 pounds when I was pregnant with Colton. And truly, I can remember when I was younger, I wanted these Rice Krispie treats made out of Fruity Pebbles. And my mom would never do it because, number one, I had too much sugar. But number two, because it was too expensive. And so when I got pregnant with Colton, I decided, I'm going to make myself some Fruity Pebble Rice Krispie treats. So I did, and I ate the whole thing in one setting. I did, the whole pan in one setting. But really, so I had all of this extra weight, and I had no idea how to lose it. And so I had all that weight, carried it on to my pregnancy with Avery, still carrying a lot of that weight, gained more weight with Avery after I got over the illness, after my 4th month period. After I got over the illness, started gaining weight. And then after I had Avery, I had no idea how to get it off. And so I did some crazy stuff. I did like calorie restriction. I was eating like 800 calories a day. And David was like throwing food at me. I was so angry and so please eat, please eat. But as soon as I started eating, all the weight came back on, So then I tried like completely taking it out of food group. Like I took out pretty much all fats. Tried that, lost weight. But as soon as you eat fat again, guess what happened? Came back on. So then I started taking out all carbs. So I took out carbs, and guess what happened? As soon as I started eating carbs, what happened? Gained back the weight. But what happened actually was the scales said I was the same weight, but my clothes were bigger. I had to buy a bigger size, even though the scale said I was the same when I had gained the weight back, you know, from losing it. I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done to my body? And so I called my sister, who is a clinical dietitian. I should have called her first before I did all these things. But I called her. She lived a state away. I called her and I told her what I had done. And she told me what I did is, as I was losing weight, I was actually losing the muscle. And as I was gaining the weight back, I was gaining it back as body fat. And body fat takes up more space than muscle. And muscle dictates metabolism. So you lose muscle, your metabolism goes down. So then I was gaining weight faster. When I thought like I would look at food and I would just gain it. I didn't eat it. I just looked at it, you know. I'm like, how did this happen? So then I started following the Transitions Lifestyle System, the TLS. And it completely changed my life. Because then I wasn't hungry, it was satisfying, I felt really good, it was obviously in balance, but I had huge success. So this was me at 27 years old. This was me 4 months later after I'd lost 45 pounds. And then this is just showing maintaining long-term weight loss, which is like really important because how awesome is it if you lose weight but then you gain it right back?
Right.
You know, you want something that for the rest of your life you're going to be able to maintain, so it has to be a lifestyle change. So I had the success, so I'm out with my next door neighbor walking one day. She's a great friend of mine in Nashville, and she's talking and she's like, I am so frustrated. She goes, I have tried to lose weight and I can't lose weight. I had never mentioned anything about transitions or anything to her previous. I'm just talking to her and then I hear something I might be able to help with. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can help you with that problem. I've had success in this area. She's like, really? What do you do? And so I went through the program. I got her started. She ended up, this is Laura, my neighbor. She lost 14 pounds and 11 inches in 6 weeks.
Wow.
I'm going to show you the side view of her.
Dang.
Wow.
So you can imagine when she starts having success, what do you think happens? People are like, Laura, you look unbelievable. How did you do that? You've got to talk to my friend Stacy. So then I start getting all these phone calls. Pretty soon I had over 100 people. This is the truth, from people leading to people, and these were just a couple of people that led. This guy here lost 60 pounds and 20 inches in 12 weeks.
Man. Wow. Crazy.
And this guy here, 50 pounds and 22 inches in 10 weeks. It didn't look like the same person, right? But what happened was, all I did was listen and then help to solve a problem. I didn't even go out on that walk trying to sell anything. She just complained and I had a solution and I shared it. But stories will always sell product more than, or a store, more than what's in that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because people are like, I want whatever you have. Now the beautiful thing about transitions is it's this incredible program for them that's going to be able to change their life and they'll be able to maintain that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Another thing that I use a ton is I use a ton of trial packets. And we've got some really good retailers. Like I've talked to, I know Faith and Todd are doing amazing, and Daniel's doing unbelievable at retail sales. I've been talking to quite a few people in here that are really successful. One of the things that I use daily essential packets. And so I actually hand those out. Did you know that's a write-off too? Because it's used as a promotion. You're promoting your business, so you can actually write that off as an expense. But I use those packets. I hand out 3 of them. And then I follow up to see how they're doing, to make sure the product is working for them. And I sell bottles all the time just through that. You don't have to be a great salesperson. It's like listening, hearing a problem, and then handing out trial packets and have them try it. But I want to bring Colton and Michaela up to show actually the demonstration that you guys did, which is pretty cool on our omega-3s.
Oh, yeah.
So we were with Elise yesterday, and Elise is, have you guys seen her website, her Facebook, and her blog, and all of that? Cool. If you haven't, Elise, you want to tell them how to see it?
LisaHawkinsNutritionalTherapy.com.
Okay, so she loves our omega-3s, and we were talking about this yesterday, and so Colton and Michaela were like, okay, we have a cool demonstration that we have to show you on how, the omega-3. So you guys want to describe it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a demo that we learned about. It's awesome. Elise can definitely explain in depth what the different omega-3s are, but this demonstration is comparing different products. So we have a Market America Heart Health product, and we have a Nature Made product. They're both for omega-3s, and what we did is we simulated what would happen in your body. So omega-3s are supposed to help clear out plaque in your bloodstream in your heart, as far as I'm aware. Is that correct?
Yeah, anti-inflammatory.
And anti-inflammatory. So in both cups, I put a certain amount of water, and then I poked a hole in the omega pill, and then I would squirt the fish oil into each cup separately. And what it's supposed to do is actually break down the styrofoam. So if I'm able to pull, this is the Nature Made. Do you see any changes in the cup?
You can even come around and look inside the cup.
Yeah, so this is
nothing happened.
the Heart Health cup.
The total
All the water has leaked through.
all this water on the inside's from
That's
that.
so crazy.
It ate away all of this, and that's what the fish oil is supposed to do. So it's showing you how high of a quality our products are, so you can really be sure that when you share this product with someone who has a problem, you have a great solution that actually works, that they're not flushing money down the toilet that's not actually helping them.
It's not doing anything. Now this one was actually 2 pills that we used on this guy here, and it did nothing. And this one was just one of the omega-3s. I think this is really cool because Elise was like getting giddy excited last night in the car about the omega-3s and stuff. And I mean, like, get Elise talking about that, you'll be like, wow, I had no idea. I didn't know there was 3 different kinds of omega. She's like omega-3s, omega-6s, omega-9s, and all these things. And she was going through like how amazing our products are. And it was all way over my head. It was like, 10 feet over my head. I had no idea what she was talking about. But I see this, I'm like, wow, that's like a clear demonstration of the quality of the product. This is one of my favorite things because the cup is torn to shreds. It even, you can see down here on the side, like some of the oil drip down the side, and like this is like paper thin here. It's kind of amazing.
Yes, you can see this afterwards.
We'll set it up over there in the kitchen, and then we can come back and check it out. I think this is really cool.
Yeah, it's a great solution for everyone. I need some of that stuff.
You do? You gotta try this one. It's pretty amazing. It shows you how great it is. So let's talk about transferring your buying habits though, from buying from the store to buying from yourself. Okay? In all things. Like really making it, remember I talked about when we were showing the plan? How IBV may take a little longer than BV, but once you set it up properly, IBV will be paying you the same as BV is. Remember we talked about that earlier? You have to though decide first of all that you're going to be buying from yourself. If I own, see my cute little shoes I have here? If I own a shoe store, I'm going to buy these shoes from myself, not the place down the street. Would you guys agree? Because I own a shoe store. In Market America, it's the exact same thing. You want to make sure that, you want to make sure that every purchase that you're making, that if it could possibly in any way be purchased through your shop.com, that you are doing that. Number one, it's going to save you money. I have a lady that when she figured it out at the end of the year, she saved $7,000 by shopping on her shop.com versus what she'd done the year prior. I mean, amazing through doing that. So you're going to be able to save money, but also you're paying yourself back and you're paying your team. It just makes sense. Yes.
And that $7,000, didn't you say that did not include commissions or cash back?
No commissions, no cash back.
That's amazing.
Right. Yeah, so it's unbelievable with that. So truly, people can save a lot of money through shopping on their shop.com. Everything that you find out about Market America, JR's heart is truly to help you to increase your income.
Yeah.
Everything he's done, when I started Market America, again, snow both ways, to my knees, uphill. But when I started Market America, the most that you could make on one franchise was $2,100 a week, $109,000 a year. Do you guys know that? How much can you make on right now on one franchise? $187,000 a year.
Crazy.
We got a $1,500 a week raise from JR in Market America. Instead of changing marketing plan and taking away money, there was more money, so he increased the income.
That's amazing.
Is that amazing? And he did that through internet business volume. That was our raise that we got, okay? So understanding the power of the shopping annuity bonus pool. So with transferring your buying habits, if you do that, and we were talking about this the other day, if you're running out of toilet paper, you don't just run down to Rayleigh's or Safeway to get toilet paper or Winco. You go onto your shop.com and you get it from Kmart and then you go pick it up. I mean, it's like that easy. I mean, it's like not a hard thing. If you're going to go to Home Depot, don't go to Home Depot, go onto your shop.com, order from Home Depot, and then go pick it up. Same with Best Buy. I mean, it just makes sense. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, totally.
Because you can start getting cash back You're going to save, and also you're going to get the internet business volume and get that extra $1,500 a week, which is amazing. So let's talk about the shopping annuity bonus pool. J.R. Ridinger took $70 million of his own money. It was his own money, and he put it into the shopping annuity bonus pool. He said, I'm going to incentivize people to use their own shop.com if it costs me $70 million to do it. And so what he did is, he took his own money and he started paying people back for meeting the criteria of the shopping annuity bonus pool, which they should be doing anyway. So the shopping annuity bonus pool, qualified UFOs will have all BV and partner store purchases beyond the SAB criteria roll over to the next quarter, which is absolutely amazing. How many of you guys actually know the shopping annuity bonus pool? How many of you guys have seen it? Okay, you haven't seen it. Oh my gosh, okay, you've got to see this. This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Watch this. JR decided he was going to give us another raise, which is amazing, with the shopping annuity bonus pool. When you meet the criteria, you want to go to, Colton, you just want to come up real fast? Can you get on the internet to do it?
Can I get your password? David would be here.
Can you take it to him? So the shopping annuity bonus pool, what you want to do is you want to go to your back office, which Colton is getting ready to do. He's going to go to the back office, and he's going to pull up what it looks like on that home screen. How many people in here want more money?
I want more.
Yeah. So if you want more money, you might as well be aware of this because it's not going to cost you any more money to be able to do it. Here's the criteria. The first thing that you need to do is over a 90-day period of time, you need to be purchasing $3,000 worth of something over your shop.com. $1,500 of that can come from customers. Now you might be thinking, $3,000? Who spends $3,000 in 3 months? Well, think about your life. And watch this. I have a lady in my organization that's on a very limited budget. She makes a $500 Social Security check, and her husband makes a $500 Social Security check. That's all they make coming in, $1,000 for the month. Two $500 Social Security checks.
Crazy.
They take those two $500 security checks. They go to their shop.com. They get Visa cards for $1,000. $500 from his and $500 from hers. Does that make sense? They use that Visa card. Now they just pay themselves and they're paying their distributors. They take that $1,000 and they pay their mortgage, they pay their car bill, they pay their gas, they pay their groceries, everything they're going to be purchasing on a monthly basis with their Visa card.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
From raise.com.
No, you can actually go on to just, there's all kinds of things. Card mall, there's all kinds of things that they purchase from. So they do that, and then they are able to pay off their bills and do all of that, using that, paying themselves and helping themselves to hit the shopping annuity bonus pool. Yes?
And you can use the Visa card to go back on the website again and get more IBV later.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You pay again.
Were you able to show the shopping annuity site or the back office report that shows that?
Back office report. Yep.
Okay, but
Yes, of course. So then, yep. So you're going to go to, just as you watch Colton, you go to your back office, go to management.
Sorry, my bad, I skipped it. My organization, reports, management. Everybody follow? Yeah. Nope, I got a nope. Oh, if for guests, yeah. You'll see these reports in your back office. These are all your reports. You go down to Shopping Annuity Bonus Program. And then this is where you go through. And right here is where you show, can I go with somebody that hasn't done it yet? That way we can show what it looks like. Can I get somebody that hasn't done through this yet? No judgment, to log into the back office to take the first one to build it? What's your...
Yeah, just let him come log in himself.
Come log in yourself, please.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Just your email. Just that way they can see all
That's
the...
perfect. So good.
And now Don gets his SCBP.
He gets all yeah, true. Everybody wants to do this because it's going to give you increase in income. So everybody wants to do this. Yeah.
So because she got the Visa cards that counted?
Towards the $3,000, yeah. Isn't that amazing?
So then go to your organization, or my organization, reports, management.
So everybody tracking how they're getting there?
Yeah.
So they're going to my organization, They went down to reports.
And then this is where you can see all the reports in your back office to see everything. But go and scroll down, shopping annuity bonus program. And here's the thing with this. Can I explain?
Yes, of course.
Okay, here's the thing with this report. You can scroll down so you can see everything. Inside of the reports, there's 4 boxes. Go and scroll down just a little bit more, please. There's 4 things to fill out. The first one is you pick a partner. You pick the person that sponsored you, the person that's above you, the person that you're working with. Any of those, whichever person, like you're hands-on working with, the person you go to with your questions. And you have a good conversation with them. You say, I'm going after this. Will you go after this with me? Because if both you and the person you picked both hit the shopping annuity, you both get an additional bonus raise, which is really fun. But you go through and you pick them. And the reason they have your upline person is because you have to put in their distributor ID number, their unfranchised ID number, that 9-digit number. So you have to get that from them.
Yep.
You guys should pick me. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Over, yeah.
So I'll be your partner. We're going to do this thing together. 195 688 494. Always a good number to memorize too. Just in case you happen to be in front telling everybody your distributor. Save. Oh, there you go, that's me. And then hit confirm. So you're going to go through those steps, you're going to have a good conversation. So Don and I had a mutual agreement, we're both going after the shopping annuity together. So he is now my partner. It says he's my partner on here. Now, the second thing to go after is the shopping assessment declaration. So you're going to get that on your shopping annuity website. You don't have to do that right now. Or there's an app you can actually download called the Shopping Annuity app. Both of them are awesome. And you're going to go through a shopping annuity assessment. This is going to help you, one, understand what the shopping annuity really is. It goes through and breaks down everything you're spending your money on. And it also shows you in a really kind of a fun way, based on how many people are on your team already, how much money you would earn if everybody was going after the shopping annuity bonus pool. It blows my mind. Like, oh my gosh. That's why we're spending this time right now doing this, because I'm like,
because the money's there, you might as well get it.
Yeah.
He put the 70 million in, you might as well get it.
So he's going to take the shopping annuity assessment. So you click I agree. So then it opens up these other categories. So it says yes, he did. Did you complete a new or existing shopping advisor? Can you scroll back up to the top? We're not going to have him do it right now, but he will do the shopping advisor. Correct? Because you're my partner. All the way to the top. All the way. Under order. Is that right, Mom?
I believe so.
Ordering shopping advisor. Wait. My account? Can I see it real quick? Just to make sure. They actually moved that up, because I know last time it was underneath ordering.
It was.
This is good, now I'm going to find out again. It would be somewhere over here. Wait, is that underneath these? I think it might be underneath these now. No?
Your back office is pretty cool, would you guys agree? Yeah. How you can use it and be able to track your
Do
organization.
you know where it is, Mom?
No, it used to be under ordering.
Yeah, it was under ordering last time.
Check, you sure it's under ordering?
Order by, order tracker.
Okay, go to
After
my,
teacher center? I don't even know what that is.
go to my account.
This is really good because the new quarter just started, so we all get figure this stuff out.
In the help and training, there's something that said shopping annuity on there.
Oh, maybe they moved it over
Their
there.
website. Which I don't think is shopping.
But there's an assessment, the problem is that.
Yeah, the assessment's
Yeah, she can show that, go and show that
The
though.
easiest way to do it, I think, is on an app.
Well, the shopping annuity assessment is easiest on the app, so here's assessments. But the shopping advisor is a different thing. Maybe like just different.
There is one on shop.com.
Yeah.
You go on, okay. So you want to go to shop.com?
Yeah. This is the one Michaela and I just did. Or shopping essentials. Sorry, shopping essentials. I promise I know what I'm doing.
That's okay, they just moved it.
No.
Would it be under my account?
Shopping advisor. Okay, got it.
Found it.
So go to your shop.com site, make sure you're logged into yours. So this is mom and dad's. So it says David Stacy Whited at the top. David Stacy Whited right here. Go there and do shopping advisor. And then you can go through the shopping advisor there.
Did everybody understand how to find that now? Because it has moved, so you can
It was under ordering, it's no longer there, so this is good. So then you go through, make sure you're signed in, you take the shopping advisor. And then, sorry, we'll go back to your,
Why are you going to the shopping?
That's one of the things that has to be marked off on the shopping annuity assessment or bonus pool for you to be able to get the bonus criteria met.
Do you have to redo that every quarter?
The shopping advisor you do every quarter, and the shopping assessment.
that's why it says in progress. So he started his last week, 8 days ago. And then once you have Shop Buddy installed, it'll automatically recognize Shop Buddies on the computer. So mom already has it on her computer, so she has Shop Buddy. So you do the shopping annuity assessment, complete the shopping advisor. You just do the shopping annuity assessment once. That was a good question. Shopping advisor, you have to do it once a quarter because you're always updating a little bit of what you're spending as you increase your income too.
Yep.
And get down to Shop Buddy. So those are the first 4 things. That is easy and free, and everybody can do that. Right? It's going through finding how to convert your spending into earning. Where are you putting your money? How do I convert that over to shop.com stuff? Then,
And all of that is designed to help you save money.
Yep.
Does that make sense? It's only there to help you to save $7,000 next year.
Wow.
You know, on things that you're purchasing, and it's free.
And they help with this next category. If you really do them, they really help with this next category of getting minimum purchases done. So you have to spend, or you get to spend $3,000 through your shop.com, your personal shop.com. And that's like, the $1,000 a month. We got $1,000 with the Visa cards. Spend those per month every single month. You can go back through your shop.com. That counts twice now. So if you know $1,000 a month go towards this, or groceries or whatever it is, you can direct that towards shop.com. Western Union is a partner store. If you can pay your rent over Western Union, that's a partner store. So there's lots and lots of different things you can do. That's $3,000 worth of stuff. And once you get that, between you and your customers, so customers shopping through your shop.com, I mean, how many of you guys know somebody's going to be buying a plane ticket in the next 3 months? Right? I mean, probably a lot of them.
Around this place, a lot of people.
Around this place, a lot of places. Great question to ask. Hey, have you already bought your plane ticket? If I could show you a way to make that get cheaper or find a better way to do that, would that be interesting to you?
And get paid cash back.
And you'll get paid cash back on what you just bought. That's a pretty good way towards $3,000 if you do that a couple of times, right? And then generating 1,500 BV or IBV and personal purchases. IBV, remember that was the partner store stuff? It's also Market America branded products as well. So they have both markings on them. In the back office under ordering as well, you can also get pastas and sauces and all kinds of cool stuff. So that counts towards your 1,500 that you need. He's already well on his way. He's 1/5 of the way. He just got signed up a couple weeks ago. Nice. So
Great job.
well on his way to 1,500 BV.
Do you see the bars? So you're watching the bars go by. So David and I actually have this on our cell phone that I actually pull it up and I'm constantly looking at it to see where our volumes are. Does that make sense? I'm seeing and I'm aware of it. And then when I'm talking to people in my group, I'm looking at theirs too. How are you doing? How are you doing on your shopping annuity bonus pool? We're looking at it together to see how they're doing and how I can help them to get more volume. It's free volume that JR is giving them. It's not more product people are purchasing, he's just giving them volume, which is amazing.
Is it the auto ship counts all the?
Yeah. Auto ship, everything counts towards that. Your customers' orders all going through for BV purchases, that all counts towards this 1,500 BV. Does that make sense to everybody? And so it's really just being more intentional, starting early. The quarter we're in right now, you can scroll so you can see which quarter we're in. Right here, okay. So this is July 1st through September 30th. So we all have until September 30th to get these knocked out, and then you're done. He's already, quarter of the way. I got the first part knocked out. This is great timing to be going after this, and at least do these first steps and start going after it. At least start the process. If you don't, you give up before you even start. That's not a good spot. But I guarantee everyone in this room can do that. Like she was saying, a couple that had $500 from him, $500 from her, were able to hit this. It takes a little bit of tenacity, getting it done, but you do it, it increases the profit margin on every single one of your products by 20%. I don't know, I won't go into that. But
Yeah,
it's
Steve's gonna
incredible.
come. So Steve Rodriguez, which is you guys' sponsor, is actually coming in September, and he's gonna be going through how to use your shop.com, how to maximize it. So this is just to give you a little bit of an overview. Truly, it's gonna be amazing when he comes. He's become an expert on the shopping.
But remember, he's coming in September, so that's like the end of it. So start now, start building towards that, and then it'll start clicking more. Just do it because we say so. then you'll understand why.
Yes.
So if you can build volume by simply putting anything on a Visa card, buying a Visa and simply buying anything, on a Visa card,
Yes.
then isn't it limitless? Like what you can, like can't 100% of your spending, like any that takes Visa,
Absolutely.
can't that build volume?
You got
Most
it.
definitely.
How come? So in the presentation, how come it says like the average family spends about 50K a year, and then it says
18,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it only 18,000 that can be converted?
I don't think they were figuring in the Visa cards.
Yeah, they did it.
I don't think they figured in the Visa cards when they made that presentation. Yeah, because you could do anything with those. You could pay anything. And just like Daniel said, you can take that Visa card, come back onto your shop.com, and use it to buy more stuff and get more internet business clients. I mean, that is what we call double dipping.
Or triple dipping when you
Triple
buy
dipping.
another gift card.
There you
and
go.
use the gift card back on one side.
Exactly. When I'm eating people, I don't like double dipping. When it comes to making money,
They got a car using the Amex gift cards. They come in $100 chunks.
Yeah.
So you buy the stack of them, you get a $20,000 card.
how funny.
That's all that
Okay, so gear your attention back here. So through this, you get extra volume. If you hit this, you get free shipping for a year, which is absolutely unbelievable. Again, they're paying for your shipping then. It's 7.5% for shipping. It's free if you hit this. Pretty amazing. And then I'm going to show you one more thing. How much can you make on one unfranchised? Not right now. Did you guys know that this increased? Now, JR is not saying he's going to keep it this way, but at this point, watch this. Because again, he's going to make sure that he can actually do it long term. He's just saying right now, this is what I'm willing to do right now. So you might as well take you benefit from it. This is Don. He builds the 2 sales organizations. It's growing. He's got BV and IBV banks. Everybody understands all of that so far, right?
Yep.
All of that's growing, exploding, business is booming. Right now, he can make $3,000 with BV and IBV combined, right? $3,000 from BV and IBV.
Yep.
But he also can make a bonus of $600 for BV when somebody on his left and somebody on his right goes over 5,000 the same week that he does. Everybody understands that, right?
Yeah.
But JR just said, I'm going to give you another bonus. If you go over 5,000 and 5,000 on IBV, and you have somebody on your left and somebody on your right that goes over 5,000 and 5,000 on IBV the same week that you do, I'm going to give you an extra $600 bonus. So instead of only making $3,600 a week on one unfranchised, you can make $4,200 per week on one unfranchised, which is no longer $187,000 a year on one unfranchised, it's $218,000 a year on one unfranchised. Did you know that? So in order to be up for this bonus of $600, you just need to have 10 unfranchised owners on your left and 10 on your right that have hit the shopping annuity bonus pool. In order to do that, that next quarter you're up for the bonus to make that extra $600. Woo. Is that amazing?
That's amazing.
And if you hit it in a quarter, it lasts for a year? Or do you have to hit it every quarter?
For getting this right here,
Sorry, the shopping bonus, the shopping annuity bonus.
that is a great question. So what happens is you get free shipping for a year, no matter what, whether you hit it again or not,
And your customers.
and your customers. But watch this. When you have, let's say that you ordered $4,500 in that 90 days versus $3,000. The extra $1,500 goes to the next quarter, so all you need to get is $1,500. Wow. You guys know that? It flows over. Is that amazing? So it just flows over. So the next time you hit it, it's much easier than the first time. Because I know, it just keeps getting better the more you hear. It just flows over to help pay the next quarter. So so back to Shara's question, it doesn't automatically mean she hits it the next quarter, but it made it much easier for you to hit it the next quarter, okay? But the free shipping is there either way for a year. But the bonus, you need to do that on a quarterly basis.
When does the free shipping apply?
Okay, so let's say that's a good question. Let's say that you hit the shopping annuity bonus pool in September. You hit the bonus, you're up for the free shipping. It actually won't come until the quarter after that, because they're just verifying all orders are in, everything's come in, because people can, the companies can let them know up to 60 days after you purchase that. So they're still letting them know, so then the free shipping starts, not that quarter, but the next quarter after that.
So it'll be that January.
Right, yeah. Make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, like so many cool things. All right, let's go to, I've already covered so much of this on showing the plan. You guys, let's talk about creating a names list. Okay, what time is it?
Almost
12. I thought she
Got 5 minutes to 12.
What do I want to do
Got
here?
1 hour and 5 minutes.
Let me look what I want to do here. Okay, I'm going to go over this. Every person here should have a possibility list of 200 to 300 people. Okay? And you may be thinking, 200 to 300 people, I don't know that many people. How many friends do you have on Facebook? Yeah, exactly. You probably know that many people, right? Now, these people on that list, the 300 people, that doesn't mean we're going to contact all of those people. Okay? All we want is we want a list of people, because let's say that it's Heidi, right? Let's say Heidi has 6 people on her list. That's all she can think of is 6 people. And she talks to 2, and 2 say no. Now she feels like, oh my gosh, I only got 4 left, and if they say no, I'm out of business.
Yep.
Does that make sense? It puts stress on her, and actually the person that you're talking to can feel it. They feel Heidi's stress when they're talking to her, because if they say no, now she only has 3. They say no, now she only has 2. How's she even going to find 2 people, right? But if Heidi has a names list of 200 people, and these 2 people said no, does it really matter?
No.
No. I mean, she's got 198 left, Doesn't matter. It's good. So there's no pressure on the people for their timing to be right like your timing is, okay? So that's very important. But then your names list, you don't know, like when you're looking at a names list, when we're talking about numbering people, it has nothing to do with the value of the person. None whatsoever. When we're numbering them, it's how we feel that they would do in the business today based on what we think they are as far as ambitious or unhappy where they are in their life. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Wanting more, okay? So we're going to help you take your names list from 200 people to deciding who you're going to talk to first, okay? So you're going to take your names list and you're going to start numbering your names list 1 to 10. 1 being somebody who's satisfied. They don't want more out of life. They're like, hey, I'm really happy with where I am. We have no reason other than maybe some product to be introducing the business to them if they're very satisfied, right? A 10 is somebody that's like, I need something today. I am looking, I need something. If I get to hold something, I'm going to tear it up, right? It's like Elizabeth Weber that's talking about here, right? You are a 5 on this list. So every person that's going through here and numbering your list, this is where you start. 1 to 10, you are a 5. Any questions on that so far?
Nope.
The natural progression for people to do is to talk to people that they maybe have a higher position at work than, because they feel like, oh, this person owes me one. Does that make sense? And so they don't really want to talk to people that they feel have a better position than they do, or make more money than they do, or they're more ambitious than them. So what typically happens, the natural progression, is that you're a 5, but you're talking to people that are 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. And what ends up happening is you end up with a bunch of people, even if they became an unfranchised owner, that are like, I really don't care to do anything because I'm really happy with my life, so you just have a bunch of people sitting around that really don't want to do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You want the best progression, the proper progression is for you to be a 5, but you're bringing in 6s, 7s, 8, people that have better contacts, people that are more ambitious, people that, they say, hey, I'm going to be doing a business, and everybody's like, hey, I want to do what you're doing. You're looking for those kind of people versus people that, hey, I'm going to be doing a business and nobody shows up, right? And so when you go to number your names list, you're numbering it 1 to 10, you're a 5. The first people you're actually going to talk to are your 6s, your 7s, and your 8s. Okay? You're not going to talk to your 10s the first day, because usually those are the ones that intimidate you a little bit. You know? You're like, ooh. I'm gonna call it, the phone goes from being like nothing to 100 pounds. You're like, oh, I can't make that call. And so you're going to be calling people that are very close to where you are as far as just ambition level, where they are in life. But watch this. Seth goes to make his names list, he's a 5. Seth calls Faith, and she was a 6 on his names list. Okay? The Faith decides that she wants to become an unfranchised owner. She goes to make a names list. What is she on her names list?
5.
A 5. She was a 6 on Seth, but now she's a 5. So then she goes to make her names list, and what's your name?
Haley.
Haley. So she wants to make her names list. So Haley on her names list was a 6. Haley decides that she wants to become an unfranchised owner. So she makes her names list, and she's a 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what happens is she would have been a 7 on Seth's names list, but she's a 5. Does that make sense? She was a 6 on Faith, now she's a 5. Can you see, eventually we start getting to the 10s?
Yeah.
Just through people's names list, where our 10 would have been a 10 on one person's list, but they're a 5 on their own. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So you get to the point where you're getting people that have more influence, they're more ambitious, they have more connections by just going your 6s, 7s, 8s, who leads to 6s, 7s, and 8s, who leads to 6s, 7s, and 8s, but eventually there are 10s on your names list. Does that make sense to everyone? As far as sphere of influence and as far as ambition level in life, okay, where they are right now. That makes sense on making a names list?
Yeah.
Okay, so what your homework is when you leave here to take your names list, first of all, you have to have a names list of 200 people. And so that means setting down and being like, who do I know? It might be, you know, your grade school 3rd grade teacher. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they are either. You could be in other states, could be in other countries. It doesn't matter. Write them all down, but take that names list and then number them 6s, 7s, and 8s. And then from there, you're actually going to decide how am I going to approach these people. So Colton actually has some scripts that we're going to hand out. And what we did with these scripts is, have you guys ever wondered if I was to call somebody, what should I say to them?
Yeah.
Like kind of like nervous, like I don't even know what to tell them. I don't even know what to say. So what we did is we took the top money earners in our organization, people that have all earned $1 million. We sat down and we said, what do you say when you make a phone call to people? What does your actual conversation look like? And what we did is we put that into a script, it's a basic script that you can use when you're making a phone call. Now with this, you can tweak it though. Let's say that you're like, I would never say that word, or I wouldn't say this. You can make it your own personality, but it gives you a general outline of what you're going to say when you make a phone call. That sounds like, for some of you guys, is that kind of like a relief? Like, oh, I don't know everything, I can just use this. It's something that we've used over the last 20 years, and it's been extremely beneficial for us as well. Can I see one of this as well? I just want to point something out as Colton is handing these out. There are different scripts that you can look at. We have a warm market script. That's for somebody that you know very well that you're going to be calling. Not somebody you just met on the street, you know, when you run up the business, but somebody that's a warm market person. We also have a multi-purpose script. It can be used for anything. We can even use it for a product show, inviting them. Have you got two?
We got it.
Two per person, just so you know, because there's different scripts.
There's 2 pages per person.
Make sure everybody
Did everybody get
has
one?
it.
1 equals 2, so.
And then the third script is how to invite people to a home business presentation. So 3 different kinds of scripts that you have here. The number one thing I've found with people when they're very first starting is when they make a phone call and they're talking to somebody about evaluating a business. They call them and somebody says, well, what is it? And they spend the next 30 minutes over the phone trying to tell them what it is. Does that make sense? And so then this person ends up getting a picture of what they think it is without having all the information, and then they make a decision never having all of the information. Does that make sense? I don't ever want to share something with somebody until I can share everything. Because if I start talking to Austin and I'm telling him about this, and he starts thinking, that kind of sounds like a pyramid, but I never really have a chance to sit down with him and show him why it's not, then he ends up leaving that conversation, especially if I'm trying to do it over the phone, he ends up leaving that conversation thinking he has all the information, but he only had a portion of it. So it's not doing him a service by doing that, and I didn't help him in possibly reaching his goals and dreams. So you want to be very careful when you're talking to somebody that it's a quick conversation and that you are able to set an appointment so then you can share with them everything and not just a part of it. So that when they do make a decision, it's based on having all of the information. Does that make sense to you guys? Versus coming up with something that they think it might be. So the way that you do that, let's say somebody says, tell me more. Would you guys agree, based on everything that we've showed today with the marketing plan, it's very visual.
Yeah.
Can you really describe it over the phone?
No.
No, they could never even visualize it. And so I just tell people, it's really a visual presentation. You really need to see it. You know, it's going to take about an hour. Let's set a time to get together so you can fully see it, so you can really evaluate it. Does that make sense? Versus me trying to describe it. It'd be like trying to do a haircut over the phone. Yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. And so knowing that. So what I encourage you guys to do, because we don't have time today, but I encourage you to take these, practice them, tweak them, but also realize that there's certain things in here that are there for a reason, so don't completely change the script. If you just don't like a word in here, change the verbiage, but don't change the whole script. Because I guarantee you, if you use this, you're going to have success in getting people to sit down to at least evaluate it. Yes, Caleb?
What if the person's out of state? Like if it's a visual thing that you need to show them?
Yes, that's a great question. So there's a couple different things that you can do. My recommendation would be if they're out of state, then you're going to talk to them a little bit and find out, like I would on a conversation if I was sitting down, and find out, do they have goals in life? You know, find out maybe some of their pain of what they're wanting to accomplish. If I find a goal that they have through conversation, then I'm going to say, okay, I would like to send you a video and have you watch it. And I let them know you're not going to completely understand the video, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to send it to you. It's about 20 minutes long. When would you have time to watch that video? And the person says, I can watch it on Thursday at 7. So I'll say, okay, I'll call you at 7:30 to answer your questions because you're going to have them afterwards. Does that make sense? You want to control your environment. You don't just leave it out there and think, oh, okay, I'll just send it to them and then they'll call me when they're done watching it. They don't have enough information to do that. So you want to always be in control and you want to be the professional. Does that make sense? So that's how you do it. But you first of all find out if there's a need for them before you just start sending out a video.
Totally.
And then once you find out the need, then you can send a video, but you work by setting the time they're going to watch it and then you following up right afterwards. Great question, Caleb. Any other questions on that? Man, they rock. Okay. Man, we're doing so good.
Yeah,
We have an hour for ABC pattern?
Yes, we do. First time this has ever happened. I love it.
Look at that. Okay. So let's talk about follow-up and ABC pattern. This is the most confused thing I've seen with people. And I think, to be honest with you, it's the one that's missed because people are scared to call them to see what somebody might say. So let's say that you gave a trial packet to somebody, you know, to try the daily essentials for 3 days, but you don't call back. Most of the time you don't call back because you're afraid they might say no. But you guys agree, or they don't want it, or they might come up with something, an objection that you don't know how to answer, right? You show somebody the business plan and you don't follow up. Why? Most of the time because you're nervous of what they might say, okay? And so follow-up is an important thing, and again, it's overcoming those fears. So following up with 3-way phone calls is really important. You're using an expert to be able to help you in the process of answering people's questions. So let's say Heidi's new in the business. Is there any way that she's going to know all the answers to people's questions? No. Now, I really don't even know all of the answers. But the best thing to do in the process of when she's working with somebody is to get Sandy on the phone, or myself on the phone, or Colton on the phone, but somebody on the phone with her to help answer that person's questions. It's like the expert that comes in to answer the question that person might have. There's so many different ways of using 3-way phone calls. And Colton, you can actually jump in because you and I have talked a lot about this, and Dad and I shared a lot of different things with you. But do you guys know how to make a 3-way phone call?
Can we show them?
Yes. So, where's my first over here? How many people in here have an iPhone? Okay.
That's the vast majority.
Okay, vast majority. We're gonna do it on iPhones, but I'm sure that Androids and different things are pretty similar.
Who has an Android? Oh, that's pretty good too. Do you have an Android here? No. Sorry.
Vast majority.
iPhones are still vast majority, bro.
So let's
That's
say,
how the call ever won me.
let's say that I'm gonna do a phone call with Colton. I mean, truly, we use three-way phone calls for everything.
All the time. We spend, I probably spend more time on three-way phone calls than probably anything else, so
Yeah.
it's powerful.
Okay, so you wanna know how to do it, that's very important. So what you wanna do is, let's say that I'm gonna call Colton. So let me pull him on the phone. I'm gonna call Colton.
She's calling.
So he answers the phone. So he's on the phone, keep it on.
Yep.
And then what happens is, look at my little, on my iPhone, do you see on the bottom right-hand corner here how it says add call? Add call. Everybody see that? Do you see it? Add call. See it over there? Add call.
You have Androids.
Okay, so Androids, do you know how they work for Androids?
Yeah, we're three-way calling.
Perfect.
Bottom left. My right.
Yeah,
bro.
you're right.
You have Android?
Your left.
Okay, how do you guys do it on Android?
I think
It's the same
also
thing.
a button that says add call.
It says add call. Okay, perfect.
Remember.
Add call, you guys all see it? You guys all done three-way phone calls? You've seen it? Okay. You see it? You see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Android has the exact same thing in the top left side.
Top left. So Android top left.
Perfect. Okay.
I knew it worked the same way. My father-in-law and I were just going through this a couple days ago.
So, pretty easy. So then, what I do is I'm talking to Colton, and Colton is an expert from afar for me. So he's an expert, he's gonna help me. I just showed the business plan to Michaela, and I'm going to follow up with Michaela to answer questions for her. But I want to introduce her to Colton and have him help me answer questions for her. It is just as easy as if you were at church and Daniel and Colton were talking and I just happened to walk up and Colton's like, hey Daniel, this is my mom Stacy. It's just as easy as that.
That's awesome.
It's not any more difficult, it's not any more weird. It's not like, why is this person on the phone? You know, it truly is, I just want to introduce you to my business partner. Does that make sense? Yeah, who is this person? You know, it's just that simple. Okay, so let's say we're going to add the call. So now I push add call, it comes up and gives me my contacts. So then I'm going to call Michaela. So I push Michaela, and it's going to start calling Michaela. At this point on my iPhone, this is grayed out. I cannot merge the call yet because this is grayed out until it actually answers.
So she
You
put
see
me
that?
on hold.
It's ready now.
So now it's ready. So at that point, Colton is on hold, Michaela's on my phone. I immediately push merge, and bada boom, bada bing, we're all on the call at the same time. Is that too sweet? So now Colton's on the phone, Michaela's on the phone, and I'm on the phone. So here's the key to making a three-way phone call. When I get a hold of Michaela, the first thing I want to do is say, hey Michaela, did I catch you in the middle of anything? Very important. Because if Michaela has kids and she's taking one out of the bathtub and I'm trying to talk to her on the phone, would you agree she's very distracted?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to say, hey Michaela, did I catch you in the middle of anything? And she says, no, this is great timing. Awesome. Michaela, I want to let you know I have a business partner and a great friend on the phone. His name is Colton Whited. Colton, this is Michaela. Very important. I let Michaela know right away that Colton is on the phone. I've had it happen before that I'm the expert from afar. They start a whole conversation. And I'm on the phone and she has no idea that I'm on the phone. And so they're talking about kids and oh my gosh, I had this thing happen and I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, and then pretty soon Colton goes, oh yeah, by the way, I got Stacy on the phone. And Michaela's like, what? Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh, she's almost like I'm a peeping Tom or something, you know. Like I was listening in or something, you know. And so business partner and a great friend of mine on the phone, Colton Whited. Colton, this is Michaela. Does that make sense to everyone? Very simple. And then I'll say, I want to edify Colton. I'm going to say, would you guys agree, you guys should know this from BSSM, every person has gold in them. Every person has great things that you can say about that person. You want to always bring out the good things, the great things about that person when I'm introducing him to Michaela. Okay? So I'm going to say, oh my gosh, Colton is an amazing leader. He is a great guy, unbelievable son. But I'm going to just go through some different things, as well as the success that he's having with Market America. And then I'm also going to tell Colton some good things about Michaela. Just like if you were introducing people in person, you're going to do the same thing over the phone. Does that make sense? Oh my gosh, Kayla is amazing. You should see this girl. What did we do yesterday? Wakeboarding?
Wave surfing.
Wave surfing, whatever it is. You should see her. She's unbelievable. All these different things, just whatever. But I want them to build a relationship, and I want the phone call to be comfortable. Does that make sense to everyone? So then from there, I'm going to ask Michaela, okay, Michaela, you saw the business plan the other day. Well, one of the things is to introduce you to some people that we're working with. Colton has been a huge success in this area, and I wanted to introduce you guys just over the phone. You'll be able to meet in person, but I want to introduce you over the phone. Also, I want to find out, Michaela, I know you watched the video. Did you have any questions after watching that video? Does that make sense? So then Michaela's like, well, actually I did. I'm going to let Colton answer the questions in this situation. I'm not going to jump in. He's the expert from afar. I'm letting him answer the questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he's going to answer the questions. Yes?
So when you're calling the person that you just showed the plan to, they're not knowing that they're coming into the three-way call. So,
Yes.
So you're not trying to set it up as a three-way
Nope.
call. Oh, that's awesome.
Not
That makes
at all.
life so much easier.
Yep, not at all.
That's not awkward at all.
Nope.
Hanging
Nope.
out at church.
Exactly. It's just like hanging out in church, introducing two different people.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Yes.
And if you don't get a hold of the person doesn't answer the phone, leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, you want to catch you real quick. We're in the middle of something, but I just wanted to introduce you to my business partner Colton, my business partner Aaron. Real quick, Aaron, say hi. Aaron.
Hey man, what's up? It's
Good
like
to see you.
really easy, just like it would be at church. It's that simple. And then what happens is Colton is going to help answer the questions in this conversation, okay? Even if I knew the answers, I'm having Colton answer the questions because people will always listen to somebody that they don't know more than they will somebody that they do know. It happens that way all the time. I promise you that. So they're always going to listen to somebody that they don't know more than they listen to you. Okay? So I'm going to have Colton answer questions, those kind of things. And then, this is a nice thing. At the end of the call, we've already built up credibility, for Colton. He's answered questions. Michaela's feeling good. And then Colton's job as the expert from afar, so leaders in the room, this is for you. Colton is then going to give me credibility by telling her the good things that I am doing. Michaela, you are working with a great person. Stacy loves people and she's doing such a great job of establishing it. She's really going to be able to help you in reaching your goals and dreams. Whatever that good is that he can say about me, he gives me that credibility. Does that make sense? So that Michaela, she's hearing it from another source, needs to listen to me on that. You only share though what's true.
Yeah.
Don't make anything up, only share what's true. About that person. Okay? But do you see the power of this, what's happening here? At the end I'll say, hey, we're going to be having a home business presentation at the Blacks on Thursday night. And Colton, you're going to be able to, or Michaela, will you be able to come? And she says, yeah, I will. Oh, good, you'll be able to meet Colton there in person. And so when she comes to the HBP, she already has somebody that she's talked to, so that when she comes, she even feels more comfortable entering the room because she's already talked to Colton over the phone. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes?
Do you have people that have been offended that you have someone on the line and you're not because I think for some of my friends, they actually might be offended, they feel kind of set up a bit.
Oh, never. I've never had that because it all depends on how you present it. It's just like if you could imagine introducing people at church, and you're not trying to, Colton's not there to close the deal or hammer her or try to make it happen. He's only there to, if you have an introduction, to meet people on the team. And so Colton then, if he's going to answer a question, he's helping to answer the question. But even if she says, I don't have any questions, oh, awesome, well, I just want to introduce you. Colton's a part of the team. You'll be able to meet him if you come to a home business presentation. All I'm doing is introducing people, exactly, and facilitating, and never, ever, again, you have to always look at, every conversation is always a win-win, and I'm always focused on how can I help that person to achieve that goal and dream. When your heart is in the right place, truly, it never comes off bad. And if they did, there might be an issue there. That's something you need to talk about. But I've never in 20 years had anybody ever offended when I did a three-way phone call. Because again, it was just introducing and helping them. Daniel.
Would it be bad to have it prearranged?
It's not bad to do it prearranged, but a lot of times you end up with your schedule. You're like here and there, and oh, I didn't make it here, and I didn't get a hold of that person, and I scheduled that. So yeah, you can do it.
I'm just thinking, like, if I'm trying to get somebody to like learn more about the business, I need to work with their schedule and then my upline. So getting all three of our schedules together, like 7:30. You know, you're gonna watch at 7, so hey, I'm gonna have one of my partners call you at 7:30 with me, and is that?
You can definitely do that.
Okay.
But don't limit yourself to that.
Okay.
You can do that, awesome, but don't limit yourself to that. Because maybe Colt and I are just talking on the phone, and I'm like, hey, let's pull somebody on three-way. Do you see what I'm saying? I got Colton, might as well see if I can, anytime I'm talking to him, I'm like, who can I introduce him to? I'm truly thinking in my mind, who can I introduce him to? You know,
here's a really big deal. Once you get a hold of a leader, like anybody that's above you, man, I got down on the phone. It wasn't like one call. We wouldn't just do one three-way call. I'd be like, here's 15 people we're about to call. And we just go down the list. Now I'm gonna get a hold of somebody in that list. Right. And probably by the time we're 3 people down, the first person's calling back, you know, and you just go through a bunch of people spreading the fire.
And the fun thing about that is, let's say that, you know, Daniel, we're gonna do a three-way phone call to you, and you're home that night, and you were, you know, working on something else, and Colt and I call you, we're gonna bring life, we're gonna speak encouragement to you, and so we call you, and then we hang up the phone. Now you're thinking about Market America, where before you weren't thinking anything about Market America. So you're thinking about Market America, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, this thing could really work. And so it gets people down that path. Also, we do that with other franchise owners. So Colt and I are talking, we call other franchise owners. They don't even have to be, you know, guests. They don't have to be prospects. We do that with people that are in the business. Because that night, you know, Rhonda is at home watching Friends, you know, and Colton and I make a phone call to her, and we're like, hey, Rhonda, what's up? And so we call her, and she gets off the phone, she's like, oh my gosh, she's more excited about her future than she was earlier, and now she's thinking Market America and not Friends. Does that make sense?
Hours of production go up.
Hours of production go up. That's exactly right. I want you guys to understand human nature. You guys can think of us on what I call a barometer in Market America. You've got a 10, a 1, and a 5. A 1 is somebody who has no interest whatsoever. A 10 is somebody that's go now, get out of my way, I'm going to kill this thing. And a 5 is stable. Every person, whether they're evaluating the business opportunity or they are an unfranchised owner, falls on this barometer. But what happens is, I show the business plan to somebody and they are a 5. They're stable, they're not like, hey, I want to do this, but they would like to evaluate it further. So I do that. Well, a couple days go by and I haven't contacted them. What probably happens here? They kind of move down. Not because anything bad happened, they just forgot why they were excited, right? But then I send them a video of my mom and dad, and they start crying when they watch, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's such a great testimony. So then they move back up on the barometer. They're like, maybe this thing does work. Does that make sense? And then I get into a meeting like today. Not because I'm great, it's because Market America is awesome. Would you guys agree you're more excited now about your future than you were when you showed up this morning?
Yeah. Totally.
Not because I'm great, it's because we're emotional beings. We're thinking about Market America. We're talking about your goals, we're more excited. You're going to naturally move up. Here's what happens that I found with human nature. About every 48 hours, it's better if you can do it earlier, but don't let any more than 48 hours go, people are naturally going to move down on this barometer. Especially when they are just evaluating the business. Okay? Nothing bad has happened. They just forget why they're excited. Life starts getting in the way. You need to have some sort of follow-up to follow up with that person, to answer questions, to introduce them to somebody else, to get them to a meeting, to have watch a video, to try a product. Because would you guys agree, the more you think about Market America, the more excited you get? Yeah, so they're going to be the exact same way. So I just have to have a reason to follow up. And Market America has so many tools that you want to use the tools. You want to use YouTube clips, right? We've got all of these YouTube clips. that you would send to people. You want to use meeting system that's going on, you know, HBPs and UVPs and basic fives and all of those different things. Because knowing that when people come together, it creates energy, it creates excitement, they develop friendships, and they remember and they're learning at the same time why they're doing what they're doing. So you're going to use that. You're going to use three-way phone calls. All of those are used on this barometer until eventually somebody comes up here and they're like, get out of my way, I'm going to kill this thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But they can only do that based on information that they're receiving, enough information that they feel confident that they're making a good decision, that this is the right thing for them. Does that make sense? So you do that through a follow-up process, and you need to do that about every 48 hours, have something happening. I love all the videos that Market America has, and we talked to Daniel yesterday, and Daniel was like, is there any way that we can get some sort of form or something together that these are the things that we're using to send to different people? And so I know that David and Deanna have a different thing, Colton has a different thing, Daniel has a different thing. So we're going to come up with something as a group here. We're meeting with the leaders this afternoon. We're going to come up with as a group that everybody would have the same access to all of the videos. That you could be like, okay, this would be a good one to send to this person. This is a good one. If they have a product question, OPC3, this would be the video to send them. Does that make sense? Yep. So everybody knows, based on a franchising system, the best things to send to each person based on what their need is. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so definitely. Does that make sense on human barometer? Does that make sense on three-way phone calls? Everybody track that? Okay, I'm going to lay out a challenge that you guys should be doing at least one three-way phone call every single week. Just one three-way phone call, introducing different people to each other, whether it's a person that's a potential prospect or another unfranchised owner to another unfranchised owner. Does that make sense? Okay, but you need to be doing one three-way phone call a week. That's a challenge for you guys. Using these, this is Stacy Whited, I talked about earlier, using these, the YouTube clips, all of that for your business. Attending 1 to 2 meetings per week. That's what you have the HBPs. You guys are having a meeting a week, right, with HBPs?
At least.
And then home presentations or small groups, that's what you guys are doing with that. UBPs, doesn't she look excited?
She's on her way to 6-figure income.
She is on a roll. That's
a go now.
That's exactly right. Okay, so let's talk about leading to people. People leading to people. That is what the ABC pattern is. Have you guys ever wondered what they mean by the ABC pattern?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is the ABC pattern? Great, we're doing so good on time. I'm so happy.
Me too.
Hours for follow-up.
I'm pumped.
Okay, so let me show you ABC pattern. I'm going to demonstrate it with David and my organization myself, okay? So this is David and Stacy. When we got started, we sponsored our first 2 people, Audra Garrison and Tom Holden. Those were our first 2 people in Market America that we sponsored. So Tom Holden led to a guy by the name of Gary. Gary Walton was his name. Gary Walton led to a guy by the name of Fred Beanie. So David and I were the sponsor. Tom was what we call the A level. Gary is what we call the B level. Fred is what you call the C level. We kind of knew Gary, but not very well. But we did not know Fred at all. Okay, so watch how this happened. Tom we knew, who knew Gary we kind of knew, and Gary knew Fred, which we did not know at all. But this whole time we are working with Tom to find out who he knows, and Tom's like, well, I know Gary. So then we go and meet with Gary with Tom, and Gary's like, well, I know a guy by the name of Fred. So we're like, okay, we meet with Fred, and Fred is like, well, I know a lady in Wisconsin that actually my cousin went to high school with that has had a lot of success in network marketing, and I think she would be great in this. We're like, really? What's her name? And he said, Jackie Blasco. So we're like, okay, let's call Jackie. So we called Jackie, and Jackie's like, oh yeah, I evaluated. So she starts looking at the business. When she starts getting a little excited, we're like, wow. So David, at this point, we continue showing the plan personally. We show the plan to my mom and dad. My mom and dad decide, yeah, we'll go ahead and get started, because remember they're reaching retirement. So they decided we're going to go ahead and get started. So we placed my mom and dad here, Ernie and Jeanette Hikas. And right after that, Jackie Blasco became an unfranchised owner.
Wow.
Wow.
So, A, B, C on this thing here, we knew Tom, who knew Gary, but the key was, we didn't leave it up to Tom to go talk to Gary. We went with Tom to talk to Gary.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
And then we asked Gary, who do you know? And we didn't leave it up to Gary, we went with Gary to go talk to Fred. And then we didn't leave it up to Fred, we talked to Fred, and Fred said, I know this Jackie Blasco, so we called Jackie Blasco with Fred. You guys understand this? And then, of course, my mom and dad, we started over again with this, so they're personally sponsored, so we placed my mom and dad there. Okay, watch the power of this. Tom Holden, and the same thing is happening on this side, I'm just showing you one side here. Tom Holden, he introduced us to Gary and did nothing else after that. Nothing for 17 months. Nothing. Gary didn't do anything either. Fred introduced us to Jackie and then he quit. This is really the truth, and then he quit.
Crazy.
So Jackie though starts taking off. She goes crazy. I mean, her business starts to explode where she reached $100,000 a year her first year in the business.
Wow.
Okay, first year, $100,000 per year. So all of that volume from Jackie is flowing up to my mom and dad. It's flowing up to Fred Beanick, who quit. It's flowing up to Gary Walton. It's flowing up to Tom Holden. And it's flowing up to David and Stacy. And it's flowing up to David's brother. And it's flowing up to every person all the way president of the company. You guys understand this so far?
Yes.
So 17 months later, Tom's like, David and Stacy Whited are making money. Because he knew us really well. He knew us when we were really poor. So he's like, well, if they could do it, I could do it. And so he calls the company, and the company says, you have 1 million business volume on one side, and nothing on the other.
Oh my goodness.
So Tom Holden decided that he was going to start building the business. So he sponsors a person, starts working with them, and within a 6-month period of time, because one side was already built, you guys understand that? In a 6-month period of time, he was at $100,000 a year.
Crazy.
Now, some people are like, why do you have to have both sides that build? I don't even understand that. Why do you have to have 2 sides? This is why. Do you know how angry I would have been if we did all the work with Gary and Fred and my mom and dad and Jackie? Tom did nothing, and he would have been paying the same amount of money as I did?
Right.
Can you imagine? That'd be like so frustrating.
Well, then everyone would do it.
Then everybody would do it. So in order for Tom to get paid, he had to build his other side. He had to build 2 sales organizations. You guys understanding that?
Yep.
But as soon as he did, he had something to lose. If this was multi-level marketing, we would have been putting people on the outside here. Tom wouldn't have had anybody in his organization, and he would have had nothing to lose, so therefore 17 months later, he probably wouldn't have done anything anyway.
Right.
But he called the company and found out he had 1 million business volume, he wouldn't have, right? So Gary then's like, well, I'm going to do something too. Tom's making money, I'm going to do something. So Gary sponsors a person over here because Fred quit. So he sponsors a person over here, starts working with them. Gary does the same thing.
Wow.
My mom and dad were doing, of course, the business as well. So watch this. This is so powerful. So she's making a 6-figure income, by the way, too. So it's all happening over here, too. But I just want to show you this. Tom Holden is executive director, $25,000 in a 4-week period. Gary Walton is a supervising coordinator, $7,500 to $10,000 in a 4-week period. Fred Beanick quit. He doesn't make any. Ernie and Jeanette Hikas, executive director, $25,000 in a 4-week period. And Jackie Blasco, $36,000 in a 4-week period.
Wow.
Is that amazing? And David and Stacy, $25,000 in a 4-week period. So you look at that and you think, we would have never known Jackie Blasco if we would have not found out who does Tom Holden know, and not just left it up to Tom and had him make a names list himself and go call him. We were like, who do you know? And then we helped.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And then we went to Gary, who do you know? And then we helped. And then we went to Fred, who do you know? And then we helped. And that led to an organization of people that were then making money. Yes?
So given that Fred quit, does that mean that Gary had to find someone for both sides?
He did. Yep, you have to have one on your left and one on your right that are qualified and active.
Oh, so it doesn't, the person underneath Fred doesn't automatically move up to Gary?
Great question. Nope. It just means Jackie's sponsor quit. So she just doesn't have a sponsor anymore. But it didn't matter because Dave and I were helping and a bunch of other people were helping. So we treated her like we sponsored her ourselves. So all Gary had to do then was go out and sponsor someone. Let's say he sponsored Tim, place him there. And then his second person here, Jim, place him there. And now he's activated to earn commissions. And that's exactly what he did. He just didn't sponsor Jim and Tim. He sponsored other people. But do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
The key to that, though, is you have to find out who people know, because what I have found most of the time, the people that will really kill this thing, take it off, become a go-down distributor, are people you would have never known. It's somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody.
Good.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Totally.
And here's another thing I want to point out. She makes $36,000 in a 4-week period per month. $25,000 in a 4-week period, $7,500 in a 4-week period, $2,500 in a 4-week period, $2,500 in a 4-week period. She makes more than the people above her.
Wow. Yeah, that's good.
You see that? It's not a pyramid because nobody can stop her. She can make as much money as she wants. It's all dependent on her, not the people above her.
So awesome.
Is that so cool?
Yeah.
And you're also capped because we took off time. We took off 5 years. She did it. So how fair would that be if we were making all the money on what she was doing and increasing our income when she, does that make sense?
Yep.
And so you have to be doing something in order to increase your income. Yes?
What if you have like a leg where you have one person, you put people under them, but they haven't dropped off, but they're pretty stagnant? Do you need to do kind of like what you do when someone quits, like where you start building out? Like what do you recommend?
We would just continue building underneath them, sponsor somebody else or work with people, you know, that maybe they brought in. You have to really look at that you are the top of your organization. Everything from you down, you're getting paid on, so you really need to take responsibility for. Okay? This is something I find with new unfranchised owners. This is very common that they only take responsibility for people that they personally worked with or sponsored, but they don't take responsibility for the other people that maybe people have led to. But they're getting paid on those people either way, whether they sponsored them or didn't sponsor them. Does that make sense? So it's very important that you look at every person in your organization is people that you should be working with and helping. Because you're going to get paid 100% on what they're doing, so you might as well help them. Does that make sense? Another thing you have to really look at is you have to look at, a lot of times, one leg will build faster than the other leg. That's very normal for one leg to build faster than the other leg, kind of become one-legged for a little while, right? Because one leg, maybe people are placing people there on one side, and you're trying to build the other side. Very, very normal for that to happen. What I find a lot of times, though, is as a leg starts to grow, people start focusing on the side that doesn't have the volume yet matching the other side, and they stop taking care of the people on the side that has all of the volume. And these people are kind of orphaned. Does that make sense? Because they're like, well, I already have all that volume over there, I need it over here. If you happen that what you do, what you focus on, if you're focusing on weakness, you're going to get more weakness.
Yep.
Does that make sense? You always want to focus on all of your team, not just the area that you're trying to grow. And you also want to use fire, so watch this. 3-way phone calls. You want to take the people that are growing over here and get them on the phone with people over here and mixing the fire between the two. You want Jackie Blasco talking to Audrey Garrison.
Yes.
Does that make sense? You want to mix it so that they're bringing fire to both sides. It's like, you know, if you have a torch and you got fire in your torch, I'm going to light Daniel's torch, and I'm going to come along, I'm going to light Deuce's torch, and I'm going to come along, I'm Molly's. And so I am I'm lighting all of these torches through excitement of how to build a business. Does that make sense? Yes, Heidi.
Now Jackie's not necessarily financially connected to Audra. She's just helping because of.
Yep, because we're all a team. Does that make sense? And so Audra might help Jackie with a phone call to somebody on her team. Everybody is helping each other. We really look at Market America. We don't really look at where people are. It's like these people are all part of the team of Market America, and we all have the same vision to help set people free financially to be able to do the things they want to do in life.
Yes.
Does that make sense? And so even like you guys are in Steve and Sandy's organization, but you should be working with this whole team. Like they should be using you guys for three-way phone calls, helping each other, because you guys have strengths that this person doesn't have, and everybody uses and helps each other through the process, uses each other's strengths to make every person better. Does that make sense?
So
Great question. Any other question over this? Yes.
So technically, you guys could have found somebody to sponsor if you guys had chosen to.
Yes.
But then you would have been making a ton of money without doing any work.
Exactly. So if Tom would have led to a second person, if Tom would have said, hey, I've got, my friend Danielle, we would have gone and shown Danielle with Tom. We would have, but Tom just decided not to do anything. He got sidetracked with life. He was doing this, doing that, not listening, those kind of things. He tried to do some really silly stuff. And so in doing that, he didn't get activated. But at any time, if he would have said, hey, can you guys help me go show the plan for somebody over here? We would have been 100% all over that to help him. Because our goal is to help every person make money. As long as they're willing to put in the time. Does that make sense? If they're willing to be a good sponsor, it's almost like if you have a foster child and you're going to put them into a home, or an adopted child and you're going to put them into a home, we want to make sure the parents are going to take care of them. It's the same thing here. If you're sponsoring somebody, you want to be, it's like being a parent. You want to take care of them. You want to make sure you're there to answer questions and all of that. So even as I'm showing the plan, I'm going to make sure Tom's going to be a good parent and help them.
But if you guys didn't want to wait for him to find somebody, you guys could find somebody yourself and
and put him under
him.
Yeah.
But that might weaken the team.
Well, actually, not really, because if we found another person we didn't want to wait on Tom, we just placed like my mom and dad here. Okay. So it didn't pay Tom more money, it just increased his volume on one side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we kept building underneath of him, it just paid one side, and so that when he decided to build, he could build the other side. Sure.
What about if you have someone on your team that they have the transfer auto ship, and for some, like this happened to us when we were in Africa last week, 2 of our cards got vandalized, so we didn't have credit cards to use, and I was so worried the auto ship wouldn't pull.
Yeah.
So what if one of your UFOs that are under you, there's something where they're monthly UFO, does that jeopardize the downline or the upline? Like, because if it doesn't go through, and
Great question. Great question. So if their UFO doesn't pull or any of those things like their auto ship, it does not affect your status of being activated. Only if they purge, which we'll go through tomorrow, would affect that, but not something due to auto ship. But do you guys know that if an auto ship doesn't pull, you still have 17 days to turn in an order to meet your requirements. So even if it doesn't pull, it's set to pull 17 days early so that you could protect yourself through that. So you would still be safe. Any other questions? Yes, Taylor.
What happens if you talk to Tom and you led to Gary, but then Tom didn't sign up, but Gary just signed up?
Oh, great question. Did you hear McKenna's question? What happened if you showed the plan to Tom and he led to Gary, but Tom decided not to become an unfranchised owner? We would have just personally sponsored Gary.
And then you work with Gary.
And then we work with Gary and find out who Gary leads to.
So you can use it, but even if they don't decide to sign up, you can still actively know.
Yes. Yeah, isn't that great? Here's the key too. That's such a great question. I've got 15 minutes left, so I want to cover one more thing. Look how good we did. Is that awesome? You guys are awesome. You guys have been incredible. Okay, so something I want to point out with what Michaela was saying. When you're talking to somebody and you're showing somebody the business plan, while you're showing the business plan, if there's somebody that's looking for something, they're already thinking of names.
Right.
Yeah. I want you guys to know that. If somebody's actually thinking of names, they're very interested. But if somebody, while you're showing the business plan, is thinking of no one, it's probably not going to work for them. Does that make sense? But if they are like thinking of people, you want to capitalize on that. So when I'm showing the business plan to somebody, I actually will, if I'm using the flip chart, or if I'm just doing it on paper or even a video, I'll stop it and I'll be like, you're probably thinking of a couple people that you would like to have evaluate this with you. Some people that are ambitious. Name a couple of people that you know that we could just use in this example that might possibly be somebody that you would like to partner with if you decide to become an unfranchised owner. And so let's say I'm talking to Caleb and Caleb says, I want Mandy and I want Emily. Does that make sense? And so I put down, I actually will write it down on a piece of paper there with them so they can see it, so that they actually see actual people's names in that demonstration, and it's not just an example of something else. I'm actually showing them an example for themselves. Does that make sense to everyone? And in that first appointment, I already got 2 names. And so I'll say to Caleb, hey Caleb, why don't we just throw it in front of Mandy and Emily, have them evaluate it, and see if this might be for them. So even at the first appointment, even though he's not an unfranchised owner, I'm going to then get it in front of a couple of people with him to have them evaluate it. Does that make sense? Because I'll say to him, Caleb, if he has an interest to evaluate it further, I say at the end, would you like to evaluate this further? Is there any interest that you'd like to evaluate this further? And he says, yes, I would like to find out more information. So I'll say, well, Caleb, let's throw it in front of a couple of people, have them evaluate it with you. Would you agree, if you can find 2 people that want to partner with you, you'd be crazy not to do this, and I'd be crazy not to take you on. Would you guys agree with that? If you can find 2 people and they want to partner, he's already set up, right? And I'll say, if you can't find 2 people, you'd be crazy to do this, and I'd be crazy to take you on.
That's so good.
So let's see if we can find you a couple of people that are interested in evaluating this further. Does that make sense to you guys?
Can you just say that one more time? That was really, really, really
Yes.
good.
So I'm talking to Caleb, and he's already mentioned a couple of people. So I say to Caleb, Caleb, is there enough interest that you would like to evaluate this further? Some more information. He says, yes. Very good. Well, let's see if we can throw it in front of a couple of people, have them evaluate it, and if they want to move forward, you'd be crazy not to do this business, and I'd be crazy not to take you on. But if you can't find a couple of people that want to partner with you, you'd be crazy to do this business, and I'd be crazy to take you on. Would you agree?
So good.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you, Caleb? But did everybody in here agree that that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can find 2 people, they're on their way. If they can't, why would I sign them up in the first place?
Totally.
So good.
You know? So that's a process that you can go through. But finding names and getting to their names right away is very important, because you don't know. You don't know who's Tom Holden and who's Gary Walton and who's Fred Beanick and who's Ernie Hikas and who's Jackie Blasco. You never know. The only way you know is by finding out, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? I seriously doubt that we would have been able to find Jackie Blasco if it wasn't for going through this process.
True.
That makes sense? Who was a roommate of somebody, who was a cousin of a roommate that he had from college. Is that crazy? Yeah. I mean, crazy. So, you guys, this business is truly, will give you anything that you want as far as financial, the financial side. To take care of that so that you can pursue the things that God's put on your heart. And I truly believe that every person I sit across the table from, if they have a goal and a dream, if they are ambitious and they're willing to follow a blueprint, I can help them achieve any dream that they have. If they're willing to do it. They have to do the work, but if they're willing to do that. And so I really find it, like, for me, it's like so exciting. It's like going for a treasure hunt. You know, when I sit down with somebody that, like, oh my gosh, I have something to possibly help this person if they have a goal and dream. And then to watch them achieve it is absolutely amazing. And you all have that same opportunity to be able to sit with people, to be able to help them to pursue that and to be able to achieve it. Yes?
In a nutshell, could you tell us what to say when people ask us, is this an MLM?
Great question.
I know you touched on it earlier, but like,
yes.
How do you answer that? In like 2 sentences before they're willing to even evaluate the plan.
I will ask them, what do you think an MLM is?
You're asking multi-level marketing.
But what is multi-level marketing? We're actually not multi-level marketing, but what do you think multi-level marketing is?
Where you get paid more the more people you find to partner with you. The more people you get under you get paid more.
Okay, so multi-level marketing, just so you guys know, multi-level marketing is actually a pay structure. It's a way that a company pays. It means they pay on levels. So multi-level marketing is actually how a company pays on levels. So let me just demonstrate something for you real fast. Because you really need the information before you can answer a question. You have to know why it's not multi-level marketing. We're not, but you need to know why. Okay, so if this is a multi-level marketing company, what was your name?
Janessa.
Janessa? So this is Janessa. This is a multi-level marketing company. Do you guys know that in multi-level marketing, all of your profitability that you get comes from the width that you create? If you want to create 6 figures in multi-level marketing company, you have to get people wide. It means you have to sponsor 6, 10, 15, 20, 100 people in order to be able to create significant income. Does everybody understand that?
Yep.
What's the average person sponsored over the last 30 years? 2.8. So you need at least 6 that are actually doing something to produce significant income in multi-level marketing, but the average person only sponsored 2.8. So even if you're a hot shot, Janessa, and you can find 6, what's the likeliness of all 6 of these finding 6? Not very high, right? At some point, it's going to fall apart. That's the first thing. In multi-level marketing, watch this. The deeper that your organization goes, so this is money. The deeper they go, this creates stability. The deeper the organization goes, the more stable the income is that you're going to be earning. Because these people have people, which means they're making money as well. But in multi-level marketing, you're paid on a percentage of what these people do. So if you are paid, let's say Janessa's paid at 21%, and this person is doing really well, this person would be paid at 18% based on their volume. Janessa only makes the difference of 3%. The volume that she created and what her volume created. So when she makes a paycheck, she only makes a 3% difference between her and her organization. So she's actually in competition with them based on how much that she can earn. In Market America, how much do you make in your organization? 100% of what's happening, with no competition whatsoever. If this person here is paid at 3%, then she makes the 18% difference.
Wow.
So she really wants them to do well, but not too well. Because when they do too well, then she makes less money. Does that make sense? You guys seeing this? Now watch this. Her organization is growing. In some multi-level marketing companies, not all, but a lot of them, you're only paid to a certain level. So let's say that you get 7 levels down. No one from now on would Janessa make any money on. She only makes money on the 7 levels, but no one below that. So what if a Jackie Blasco came on her 8th level? She makes no money. Do you guys see that? She only makes money on the first 7 levels. Again, we're paid on levels here. And what happens at the end of the month in multi-level marketing? Your volume goes back to 0. It has to reaccumulate. Okay? And so there are like so many other things that like set us apart. But I want you to understand what multi-level marketing is. It's actually a pay structure. And so if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, is this multi-level marketing? I'll say, well, multi-level marketing is actually a pay structure. It's a way that a company pays. We do not pay that way. We are able to introduce other people to the business with that networking aspect, but we don't do multi-level marketing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want you to describe to them what multi-level marketing is, because most people don't know. And I'll also say, let's say if somebody asks that, I'll say, a lot of times they also come into a pyramid type situation where the person at the top makes all the money and everybody else works to make them rich. We don't do that. Does that make sense?
How do you say in one sentence or a nutshell how you're not a pyramid scheme? Like, I know you described it before, but do you have like a sound bite? Because I do get asked that all the time.
Yes. So if somebody says, is this a pyramid? The first thing I want to find out is what they think a pyramid is. Again, asking questions is very important because you want to clarify. I might be giving an answer to a question that they really didn't have. And so let's say that you say, is this a pyramid? Say, ask me, is this a pyramid?
Is this a pyramid?
I'll say, well, Cher, what do you think a pyramid is?
It's illegal, and it's where all the bottom meets the top.
Okay, so then I'll say, no, we're not illegal. We're on the A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We've been around since 1992. And then, no, the person at the top of the money, this company does not make all of the money. The most that you can make on one unfranchised is $187,000 a year. And so I actually answer the question versus coming at something I don't even know what she's asking.
That's good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want to clarify what a real question is. Did that help you? Okay, back here.
So, what you just described is probably something that I've come up against, just not even in this company, but over and over and over again.
Yes.
So, do you have videos that cover this type
We
of stuff?
do. Isn't that awesome? There's a guy by the name of Ryan Stack.
Yeah.
And he's on YouTube. Thank you, Ryan Stack. Everybody give him a He's on YouTube, and he actually takes a whiteboard or a piece of paper and he draws out the difference between multi-level marketing and Market America. You can watch those over and over again until you feel confident. Yeah, pretty much anything you need more knowledge on, Market America has it somewhere. So it's just finding out where. All right, yes.
It's kind of, sorry to not leave the subject, but I was doing some research on it, and part of what they call it is a binary compensation plan.
Yes.
And it's saying that's what Market America does, which actually still fits into MLM, because you're building, one of the basic 5 is the prospects, so you're building prospects to build volume, so when people bring that up, I don't really know what to say.
Okay, so what I will let them know again, we are able to network and involve other people in starting their own business, but we're not paid on a multi-level marketing pay structure. Again, I want to let them know what multi-level marketing is. Most people don't know what that is. They just heard the term, but they really don't know what that is. And multi-level marketing is a pay structure. It's the way a company pays. So when a company starts, a lot of times what they'll do is they just pull a marketing plan off the shelf that's already been there and they repurpose it for their own company.
Right.
Does that make sense? It's not like they created something new. Jim Reidinger actually designed binary marketing. It had never been done in the history of marketing. Now, since then in 1992, people have tried to copy it. But again, it's not able to do what we're able to do. If you guys come in January, you'll see the three-legged stool and you'll know the difference. Binary. What is the date? Do you know the date yet? We're looking at like around the 12th, right?
Yeah, we won't announce it yet. I'll announce it soon, though.
Yeah.
I have a lot of other dates I'm about to go through. Just 1 second.
Okay, very good. So I just want to thank you guys for your attention. You guys were awesome. We went through a lot of information. This was definitely not a typical basic 5, but I believe it was really information that you guys needed in this area being where you are. So congratulations for being here today. Thank you.